The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.
Welcome tonight to the Dover International Speedway here for 200 laps at this very fast Monster Mile here as these guys are qualifying currently. We welcome you to tonight's broadcast as we say good evening sim racing fans and welcome to the VNC Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series with the United Sim Racing League here tonight. Along with me, I'm Austin Coop. Cisco Scarmuza, he'll be doing double duty, might get Tyler Hearn a little bit, so we'll get some extra hands and helpers in here a little bit later on tonight. But Cisco, it's going to be 200 laps, same number of laps as last week, but a much shorter distance than last week. But I don't think by any means it's going to be that much shorter, just because of the nature of this track. It's a very fast track. It's a very close quartered track, and at that rate, this track is actually very rubbered in throughout practice. And turn 4, the very notorious turn 4 is where you'll see a lot of these guys have problems.
Yes, and this is a very, you mentioned it's a very close together racetrack, and we're racing tonight with some of the largest vehicles available in the sim. So I think it is going to be very interesting to see, Austin, what's going to happen. These trucks, still drivers learning them from the new build that we only had about 2 weeks ago, so this will be the second race under this new build. And Austin, this has the potential to be a very clean race if these guys can get single filed out and spread out through the field. However, at Dover, that's a tall order for these guys to take under.
And Cisco, I don't know if you've looked at the driver roster today, but I think this is the biggest race or biggest list of drivers we've had since Daytona. So the product of having some large wrecks is definitely in hand. And if anyone out there tonight watching is seen this track, you'll know that this is a self-cleaning racetrack, meaning once there's an accident, it'll gobble up whoever needs to be in that wreck, and then all the drivers will slowly come down the track because it's so banked. Even on the straightaways, in the corners it's banked, and on the front and back straightaway it's banked a few degrees. And we'll talk about that, of course, during right after the lineup for the drivers. But currently only 15 drivers have made qualifying efforts, and it looks like about double of that is how many drivers we have, if not a little bit more than that. Probably around 32, 33 drivers are going to be entered in tonight's race. And I don't know if we've got a points graphics tonight, but nonetheless, Seth the Merchant, he will continue to lead the points. And I think one of the couple drivers that we really need to keep our eye on are drivers like Greg Mall and Christian Peterson, who have gotten themselves, they've both gotten themselves wins. And they're going to be trying to get into the chase, top 12, in a very, very difficult fashion by missing many races and going to try and make up all those points.
Yeah, definitely some technical difficulties, so we won't be able to get you your point standings for this evening, as the league's website ran into a couple issues. But we do know coming into tonight, of course, Seth the Merchant is your points leader. So that's to take note of that tonight. And you mentioned 34 cars on track, Austin, nearly the 36 cars that usually run in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, but not that many tonight, but it's only by 2 trucks. So that just goes to show what how crowded this is going to be. But yeah, Austin, this is gearing up for 200 laps, 200 miles here at Dover Downs, Dover International Speedway.
And they call this the Monster Mile, Cisco, as we know every time we come here, just because of the inevitable that happens here, especially in the late goings of races. Or in the beginning, you'll see some give and take, and a lot of drivers are going to be a little bit more lenient depending on how fast they feel. And with qualifying getting wrapped up here shortly, about 20 seconds actually to be precise, the Monster will come out and grab somebody. And it's all about who is going to be able to make it through and who's fast enough to get away from all of that. So qualifying just moments away from being over, and it looks like Tommy Ryan, he will be the only driver to get into the 23.7s, the 791, and yes, he will get that pole officially. So that, I think, will be his second pole on the season, actually. So he will start from the first position. We'll go through your LSRTV starting grid right here as the pace car brings these guys down pit road to start this evening. Tommy Ryan will start 23.791, as we just noted. And then Mark McCrary, he will start from the second position. Aaron Bennett, he's had a very consistent season. He will start from third. Justin Michael, he has had a very good season so far with a few wins. He'll start from third, or he'll start from fourth, and Bobby Terrell starts fifth. Joshua Banks, he will start from the third row outside. Sixth, Jamie Walker starts seventh with Michael Atkins Jr. He will start in the eighth position. Scott Formosa, ninth, and rounding out the top 10 will be Michael Waite.
11th going to go to Dwight Beverly in the 01. 12th going to go to Matt Mara in the 22. 13th place starting position is going to be Chris Gabot. 14th going to go to Jody Green. 15th to Tim Matthews. 16th to Louis Robinette. 17th going to go to Ralph Vandervorst. 18th position goes to George Hendricks. 19th is Christian Peterson, and qualified 20th is Randy Tessar.
Scott Simley, last year's champion, will start in the 21st position with Dwayne Dunn. He'll start to his outside. Greg Mall, last week's winner, he will not qualify again. We'll see if that benefits him. He'll start 23rd with Steve Price Jr. starting 24th. Dustin Hall, 25th. 26th starts Ricky Hall Jr. with Jesse Williams, Michael Priester, Rich Jetty, and John Jenkins. Finishing out the top 30 with Robert Gillenwater, Brian Cutts, Shane Hawthorne, and Steve Herring. Finishing out the 34-car field. After 18th place here tonight, Cisco, it's drivers by their I rating. That's why Christian Peterson is the first driver without a time here tonight. So 34 cars are trucks, like you said, biggest vehicles on the sim. Definitely some of the heaviest that we'll have this season. And before these guys get on pit road, we will take a look at the track facts for this one. Located in Dover, Delaware, opened in 1969. So it's been a while since this track's been here, but the racing has been oh so great since then.
Oh, it absolutely has, Austin. And one of the things to note, you see that smaller circle on the infield? That used to be home of the horse racing track when this used to be Dover Downs. And since then, the poly track has been removed, repaved over asphalt, and that's kind of the access road to get around to the various places in the infield. But those guys won't have to worry about that. All they have to worry about is that concrete surface on the outside. Lots of banking, 24 degrees, and a very, very sudden pit road entry. And I think back to the likes of Matt Kenseth, who found the water barrels out there back in 04 to tell you how bad this pit road entry can be. If you get it all wrong, Austin, as they pace through 3 and 4, pace car gets set to head in.
200 laps here at the Monster Mile, and the number 6 of Tommy Ryan looks like he's got himself a new paint scheme this week, and he will get these guys off. The green flag awaits, and it is about to be displayed a little bit later than normal, and they're going to get going here. Looks like already a little wiggle on the front straightaway. Mark McCrary wiggles a little bit, and Aaron Bennett's going to already be overtaken. And look at the 87 of Justin Michael from 4th to 2nd. He's already looking for the first position on the very first lap. He's to the inside. What a power move. He was on the gas, and here comes the 87 on lap 1 to take the lead.
Yeah, Justin Michael down to the inside as they come around turn number 4, and he'll be able to grab that position. So not even a lap led for the pole sitter of Tommy Ryan, and it's going to be Justin Michael in the 511 Chevrolet who takes an early lead. Meanwhile, battle 2x2 through third and fourth. It's going to be Aaron Bennett, Mark McCrary back there around the 5th position, but still your leader being hounded by Tommy Ryan, who did not appreciate the lead getting taken away from him. Slight bit of a tap there, but Tommy not going to be able to do anything as the battle around Bobby Terrell for 5th continues.
And you're seeing the 88 of Jamie Walker also in the picture right here. You've also got Mark McCrary in it. Or sorry, not Mark McCrary. You got Bobby Terrell, like you said, and then Joshua Banks rounds the outside and actually will get around. He's going to go down to the bottom and try and cross him over. It's not going to have the speed to do that. And look at the number 2. This top side is grooving right now. It's definitely not the place you want to be as the tires start to wear off, because you'll hit the outside wall as he does right there. And the number 2 of Michael Atkins Jr. will barely tap the wall, and so he'll lose that advantage he had on the 88, and they start to get single file as we expect. I really want to talk about that move that Justin Michael pulled off. I mean, there's a little bit of battling going on, but these guys have really got straightened out. But from 4th to 1st, I mean, I think what he was able to do is on the start, which they start on green, he was able to not spin his tires, had the grip, was already in 2nd by turn 2, and just had the momentum. And that's probably one of the best first laps of anybody I've ever seen in this series, and maybe one that I've ever called, because that was a masterful start by the 87.
Yeah, it was, Austin, and now the field spread out single file for the most part through your field. You see that slinky effect start to take hold behind Bobby Terrell, the 36, the 88, the 2, all there looking for that position, not too far behind those guys as well. You see the low Chevrolet of Michael Waite as well, waiting in the wings to see if he can make a move. Scott Formosa as well. So about 5 trucks at least looking for that opportunity to move ahead, and pretty spread out though through most of your field. Justin Michael right now with about 5 tenths on Tommy Ryan. Then it's another 3 tenths back to Aaron Bennett, and just about 2 tenths or so back to Mark McCreary here. So field very spread out early on, but a little bit of a battle now as side by side gonna go Michael Waite and Scott Formosa for a moment down the back stretch. Not able to do anything there was the 80 KBB Chevrolet of Scott Formosa as they continue to be single file.
Formosa showed the nose last lap. He's going to show it this time, but looks like the 48 goes way high, almost into the marbles. This might actually hinder his momentum, and you stole my slinky analogy, but it's definitely going to be here. With these guys going side by side, this is going to bring all the guys behind them into the picture, because they're not able to go to the optimal speed. So look behind him. Dwight Beverly in the 01, who had a good qualifying effort last week, but did not have the finish he wanted after an accident he had earlier on in the race. But these guys will continue to go side by side, and Formosa's really push it in the corners. He's going to get by the 48, but now the next guy's got to try and get around him, and he's going to hit the outside wall. He's in it. And that's going to produce the 5 of, I think that's the 5, yeah, that's Chris Cabot. He's going to go to the inside, and he'll get around him. Damage isn't a big deal here, but he definitely was into the wall, and he just couldn't get off of it, so he's going to lose quite a few positions off of that.
Yeah, and it was Dwight Beverly who managed to somehow get by the 48 when that contact happened. So Wake goes back 2 positions, also lost to the Channel Lock Chevrolet of Chris Cabot. So everybody now single file though back through your field. Though the closest gap right now in what could be a battle is going to be Tim Matthews and Christian Peterson going at it. Peterson, the P-Money Design Chevrolet, past the 54, and Tim Matthews is going to fall down to 16th position. Christian Peterson on the move. He started 19th. He's up to 15th position and has been rolling through this field so far though, and still has a lot to make up, as it looks like Seth the Merchant. I'm looking for him through the field here, not here tonight, Austin.
And that's not, I don't think that's going to be the first time we see that, but I think he'll still be in pretty good shape in the points. He's got a massive lead over 13th position, so I don't think it's a big deal, but I do think he will lose the points lead. That's no doubt, just because of the distance between the 3 of Aaron Bennett and company, at least the last I checked. So one driver you do want to make sure you keep your eye on is Peterson. He did not go to practice. He did not qualify. The truck is straight off the truck onto the track, but knowing how he is very versed on the sim, he's one you really, really want to watch. So I think actually Jeremy Adams might have just jumped into on the top of his pit box. So Jeremy Adams is going to be piloting on the top of the pit box there and trying to get that machine up throughout the field. But there's a big little small stack in front of him. Looks like the 13 of Jody Green got a little loose off of turn number 4, and the number 22 Matt Mara is there, but he's going to be challenged by the 23 of Peterson. Just talked about him, and Peterson's going to try and execute that pass he does easily out of turn 2.
Yeah, and Jody Green was able to get by Matt Mara right in front of him beforehand. So Mara has the reverse lights on as it sits right now, not able to make up a whole lot of time as they come through 3 and 4 once again. And the 22 sliding back slowly, started 12th, is now back to 15th and could be 16th, because you see the Kentucky Wildcats machine of Tim Matthews right on the back bumper. He's going to look for a way past the 22 of Matt Mara, so we'll have to see if that happens. But Christian Peterson slowly making his way through the field, and Coop, that's not terribly surprising despite the fact of no practice. We know the 57 and the 23 longtime teammates, and we know those two have a very good handle on most of the oval machinery here on the sim. So I'm not too worried about the 23 not taking practice. I think it will slow him down a little bit early on, but I also think we have to take note, Coop, of just how much rubber's on the surface here. I think that's going to hurt some of these guys if they haven't been on the racetrack. If they only went out on the racetrack at the beginning of practice and haven't run with these super high amounts of rubber down, it completely changes the track. And you can see Christian Peterson down on the inside, the very inside, because I think he's trying to find whatever grip's left down there. And then you've seen guys go up towards the top side to try and find some of the grip up there out of the racing groove.
There's a very, very slim white line. It's not dark, it's not gray, it's white, and there's grip there. But I don't think it'll be there for very long, especially if some of these drivers figure that out, that there is grip. They'll waste it, they'll use it, and they won't be there later on in the race. So it's kind of one of those double-edged swords. You use it now, get through the field, but you won't be able to use it later if that's something you want to try and use. But someone who does have a handle is driver the 87 in his 511 Chevrolet here at the very front, and that's Justin Michael. He actually is losing a little bit of his lead as Tommy Ryan just got overtaken by the number 3 of Aaron Bennett. Bennett has pretty much been the second place king, at least the last 2 years that I've covered this series. I've seen him get very, very close to wins and just has not got it done, but it's definitely put him in some really good positions, and especially in the championship. I know one of these days he's going to be a very excited guy to take home a trophy. It's going to happen one of these days. I'm not saying this is the night here, Cisco, but it could be, especially with the fact that he is actually chasing down Justin Michael here tonight. He was a second behind a couple laps ago. Now he's 7/10. We'll see what he's this time by. This time he is 6/10, so he is definitely gaining on Justin Michael here throughout the corners.
And Mark McCrary's kind of fallen off these guys as well. We took a quick look at him. He's back in 4th and is going to have to worry about Bobby Terrell before he has to worry about Tommy Ryan. And same goes for Josh Banks and Jamie Walker. Those guys all kind of stuck together, so it could be a 4-car train there fairly soon. But yeah, Aaron Bennett, the league admin of the United Sim Racing League, has made a perennial effort to finish in second these last couple of weeks, and has had very strong cars, just hasn't had enough time at the end to close these things out. Well, he's here now, which gives him plenty of opportunity to be able to close down that lead or take the strategy play, because that's something Bennett has not had a whole lot of. He's had to race his way even from like 7th starting position back up to the top 5, and then because you're doing that, you can't really fall on the strategy too much. So with the 3 in position, even if he gets passed by Tommy Ryan, he's still in the top 3 right now. That's going to give him a lot of an opportunity to really look at this race in its long form and figure out what the best strategy call is going to be.
Battle for the 8th position right here between the number 2 and the number 80. Looks like Michael Atkins Jr. and Scott Formosa are doing battle, and Formosa got it from him that time, and he may be able to get it here. Formosa has been coming up just a couple positions here and there, and that will put him in the 8th position. I think we've always seen him go side by side a few times. I think it was with Jamie Walker earlier, and then he got by Jamie got by Formosa. Now Formosa's getting by the 2, and I've watched Walker try and work on Joshua Banks for the last few laps as well, and he's been able to show the nose, but has not been able to show the speed when he gets under him, as some of these other drivers have really been able to do that. Right now, the 23 of Christian Peterson, however, he is still gaining on the field, and he's got a lot of drivers behind him that are actually fighting for position 2. The 13 is going to go into the 5 right here as well, but he's crawling up the track, but currently he is up looks like a total of 7 positions. Wow, that car got really loose off of turn number 4 right there, almost scary. But he's running the top line, Cisco. I think that's really important to note. And the drivers behind him are doing it. The drivers in front of him are not. So the drivers behind are saying, whoa, this guy's going to the top. He's finding speed. And when you get passed by somebody that does something like that, and it's Christian Peterson, he just finds speed all the time. He's always searching. You're going to see drivers do that behind him. His wake is always pretty much what he's doing.
Yeah, no kidding. And Peterson finding a lot of drive off right now, which is such a important part of the racing here at Dover. That'll basically make or break your race as he just gets under the 01. That's why Beverly down to the inside, little bit of apron, and he'll come up and just crush the 01 of Beverly, and he got a piece of the apron. That's where that came from, and had to back out of the throttle a little bit out of the corner, but lucky he got away with that one was the 23 of Christian Peterson, as now it looks like Jamie Walker just went side by side for a moment, but the story right now is going to be the closing of Aaron Bennett on the lead. He's been gaining slightly, and as we looked away Christian Peterson for a little while, that allowed Aaron to start to run that gap down to Justin Michael, and now only about 3/10, and it was closer off turn 2 last lap, but it looked like Michael was able to open up the gap a little bit. His caution going to be out. Looks like problems with the 01.
And that will spell trouble for Dwight Beverly once again. His truck is down pit road. Heavy damage. It looks like, it went up and over on the front straightaway all by himself. I think he destroys that green cone in the process too, which is definitely the least of his worries. Behind Christian Peterson was trying his line, and I was about to comment on the fact that those two did get into it, and I don't know whether that was on purpose or not between him, but Dwight Beverly is on his lid, flipping up and over, and you don't normally see that with a single car accident here at Dover, but nonetheless it happened.
Yeah, and it looked like that initial contact came from Christian Peterson touching the apron ever so slightly, but this was a case of, and we're right on board, Beverly, I think, was trying to follow the 23 a little bit, just got a little too much throttle coming out of the corner, truck got loose, and like I said, corner exit is where you make or break your race here at Dover, and he goes over just past the pace car as it leads pit road. And speaking of pit road, it's time to check it, because these guys going to come down pit road here for full service. The field is it.
A long pit road here, 35 miles an hour is what most of these drivers are going to be doing. I'm actually seeing a lot of them try 36 miles an hour. If you do that for too long, you'll get caught immediately. But all drivers coming down, getting service. The 88 goes through his box a little bit, has to readjust, not just once, but twice. The 6 does, the 3 does as well. Everybody in this front group, the 6 is just gonna, I don't know what he's doing, but everyone in this front group is having issues. Tommy Wright is still on his box. And look at the 14 is going to come out first. Where did he come from?
Yeah, the 6 finally able to get into his pit box here, and it wasn't a fantastic stop by Terrell, but everyone behind him seemed like they had trouble getting into their pit box. And one thing to note here, Austin, one of the changes in this new build, and one of the minor ones, but it has to do with that new pit road animations, because your lollipop guy is no longer there. They're using pit signs, which means for these guys, they have to find a new sort of point on the pit box in order to slow these trucks down. And it's something that's very minor, because not a lot of drivers really have practiced their pit box entry, but because of that change, Austin, these guys sliding through the box is a lot easier. And to keep note, this is Dover. The pit box is already small as it is, so these guys trying to hit the bullseye on the dartboard, and a lot of them missed that first time through.
Yeah, I was about to say the pit boxes are much smaller than last week's race at Charlotte. It was the new build last week when they had the new pit guys, but at the same time, thinking about that, it makes me retract the statement I was about to say, but that was one of the worst exchanges I've ever seen on pit road with all the drivers down there. I just couldn't believe that. But yeah, like you said, I think a big deal is because of the new build, the smaller box, and just because the fact that track position is so important at a place like this, I mean, you aren't seeing very many passes for position at a place like this. And Bobby Terrell is one of the guys who really needed a break like this. Bobby's had a really rough season this year, and I know this is going to be a huge relief that he's going to be able to start these guys in this restart. And who was the leader when they came in? 87, right? I don't even know. He's in sixth place. And then Tommy Ryan, I don't even know where he's at. He's in 29th position. That's probably one of the worst situations you could ever have. He just could not get it right, and it's really unfortunate for him. He's going to have a lot of work, and so our pole sitter is going to start way back in the field as we get double filed for this restart.
And I thought it was going to be a case where Ryan was just going to not take tires because he finally got himself into the pit box eventually, but deciding that tires were worth it, falls back. He'll be 27th as Maul and Dunn both came down, or rather Dunn and Jetty came down both to top off fuel. So Tommy Ryan back to 27th is going to have a lot of pieces to pick up here if he hopes to get back into that top 10. So pit road disastrous for the 6th here, but rounding out, looking at your top 10 right now, you mentioned Bobby Terrell, then Josh Banks, Mark McCreary, Jamie Walker, Scott Formosa, Justin Michael, Michael Atkins Jr., Christian Peterson, Jody Green, and Chris Cabot. Some mixture of that as these guys going back and forth on the rows, but that's your top 10 as we head through 3 and 4 one more time, and the field will be in the hands of Bobby Terrell.
So a single car flipping on the front straightaway has caused our first caution, and Bobby Terrell, who started 5th, and Joshua Banks, who started 6th, they will compromise the front row now here on this restart. And now they can go whenever they want to. So having no issues on the restart, Bobby Terrell is gone in a way. These restarts are going to be so important here. He's going to get a big restart, and so we are off and on the way. And looks like they're going 3 wide for a moment here later in the pack. Looks like the 87 of Justin Michaels got Peterson on his inside, has the 80 on the inside of him. This battle here just inside the top 5 is where your big players are at right now. And as they go through the corner, Christian Peterson going all the way to the top already. And looks like it's close. The 87 is going to cross the 80 over, go to the bottom of the track.
Yeah, back down into turn number 1 they go once again. Is Michael down to the inside. He's going to complete the pass on Formosa, and it looks like Peterson going to try and follow suit down to the inside of the 80, the KBB Chevrolet, and it's Peterson who looks to come out on top on the other side. Will clear him off of 4, and the 87-23 muscling their way through the field early on here, trying to get back up into contention once again. Is now looks like Scott Formosa, the roadblock, it looks like right now, is the 2, and now the 5 of Chris Cabot going to jump to the inside. I also see Aaron Bennett, who got shuffled out of your top 10. He's back there as well. So Cabot down on the inside. Atkins Jr., will he be able to clear him? Yes, he will. 5 up to the 8th position now as they come on to turn number 4, and it's going to be Jody Green. Now looks to the outside of Michael Atkins Jr., but a business has picked up for sure, as now Aaron Bennett going to jump to the inside of the 13 green contact, and he'll hold on to it. As now they're going to go 3 wide, and the 18 going to take advantage of that. Ricky Al Jr. through the middle, going to go around Aaron Bennett, who loses 3 spots right there in that conversation.
Yeah, and Bennett could have forced the issue, but I guarantee you the other 2 drivers were not aware of the 3-wide situation that they were in. That would have surely been an accident. So Bennett did, I think, one of the more noblest of things, and just let the guys go by, let them go side by side. But the bad thing about this is not only was he really close to having the lead at one point of the race, he now just let 3 drivers by. He just let the number 78 of Steve Price Jr. by as well. And so I don't know if he squeaked his tires here on the back straightaway. He's got to let him go, but right now he's got his hands full right now. Looking at a battle up towards the front of the field. Looks like the 31 of Mark McCreary is going to get passed up by the 88 here. They're still going side by side out of turn number 4, and looks like also we've had an exchange of the lead. With all that exciting action, it was we missed the battle for the lead. Joshua Banks has cleared the 14 of Bobby Terrell and is actually pulled away by 2/10 already. So new leader is the 36 of Joshua Banks.
Yeah, now Justin Michael going to look to the inside of Mark McCreary there in the 31 and try and follow through where Jamie Walker's going. You see the 88 struggling a little bit down there and wasn't quite able to get the apex he wanted, but he will clear McCreary here as they go through 1 and 2, and the 31 stuck on the outside in the freight train lane, not able to get anywhere going is that Tracker Boat Chevrolet, and now the 511 machine down to the inside once again is battle behind them as well. Actually, no, Christian Peterson able to get in front of Scott Formosa there, so no change there as the Justin Michael now going to try and clear Mark McCrary as they head back into turn number 1 yet again. Won't be able to do it. The 31 finding a little bit of grip to try and hold on, but now Michael going to complete the pass there. So we see a battle behind those guys. Ricky Howell Jr. the inside of Jody Green, who gets the wall again as they come into 3 and 4, and the 13 has not been able to find that exit off of 2 that he likes. Austin, second time into the wall that time.
Yeah, it's going to be really scary if that happens again, not only because it's going to hurt his truck even more, but the fact that he's got double file behind him. There's going to be nowhere for the driver behind him to go if he hits the wall here this time as well, and he's going to slow up here at turn number 2 to prevent that from happening. So this is going to stack the 87, or sorry, the 78 right behind him, and that Whataburger Chevrolet is, or that's a Toyota actually, but that truck is definitely wanting to get around. I think he's one of the fastest of these trucks in the small pack, as Bennett loses the handling on his truck just for a moment. And yeah, I think Price Jr. has a really good handle on this car right now, and you can see him on the outside. He's got it hooked up. He's going to go around the 3. He's going to try and get around the, oh, he hits the wall just a tiny bit. I don't think it affected, but he's going to try to get around Tim Matthews too.
Yeah, and the 78 still having to play a little defense. It's Toyota on Toyota, which they have been kind of sparse through the field so far. Michael Atkins Jr., your first running Toyota, then a couple Chevys of Ricky Howell Jr. and Jody Green back to Steve Price Jr. and Tim Matthews, your second and third Toyotas. It's Scott Simley kind of lurking in the background as well. So looks like everybody clear through 3 and 4 this time. So back to single file running they go, and back to the point that Joshua Banks right now, currently your leader in the race. The Matco Tools entry has done a fantastic job to get through your field up to the front, and now side by side, Justin Michael trying to make quick work of Jamie Walker off at turn number 2. They'll stay side by side back into 3, and it looks like Michael's going to be able to clear him, and Mark McCreary might be trying to get a little bit more as well, but Walker going to take that offensive line through 3 and 4 and be able to hold on to that position. So Justin Michael up to P number 3.
Yeah, Michael trying to make up all that time on the track. And there's a lot of other drivers there too. Some are still going backwards like Bennett. Some are trying to get their position back like Justin Michael. But I'll tell you that when I look at Jamie Walker and Mark McCreary, they've kind of been here this whole time. They've kind of been top 5 cars, maybe top 10 cars. I don't see them having a ton of speed, but they've been very consistent throughout this race. But when you look back behind him, Peterson, he's over, I think he's going to be at his 11th position here if he continues to go here. Or sorry, I can't do math. 13th position if he gets around Mark McCreary. So he's done a lot of work tonight, and I'd be surprised if he doesn't get to the lead at least at some point in the evening. He's very loose off the corners, but he's handling it very well. So you saw it just there out of turn number 4, and you've got to imagine that with that 23 being so hooked up on the top, and now he's going down the bottom, that the top might not be there as much as it used to be. And I think we're seeing everybody else do the same thing. They're kind of going down to the bottom of the track, but there goes Peterson at the top of 3 and 4. So perhaps it's not in 1 and 2, but it's there in 3 and 4. So lines are kind of changing up a bit, but I'm seeing him go up and down the track just about every other lap, just searching and searching. Yeah,
working lap number 50 here. When they come to the line, it'll be a quarter of the way through this race already. Only one caution has come out tonight, and Tommy Ryan the fastest lap today with the 24.11 so far in this race, but Christian Peterson still trying to catch and pass Mark McCreary here, and slowly gaining, and you see him up towards that top of the track and into the kind of gray area versus the dark gray, which now we see him cross as they come down the back straightaway once again, and trying to find any sort of grip he can, and he gains a lot on corner exit of turn number 4. Will stay on the nose cam here out of 3 and 4 this time. It's because he can go down and get that little bit of extra run down there as he's able to close in there. So that's where the 23's making his moves right now, as the lead starting to close up once again. It's actually the battle for second, because Justin Michael, after getting past Jamie Walker in the 88, has now caught up to the 14 of Bobby Terrell. And dude, be nice. Well, I guess we'll just have to see if Justin Michael is going to be nice or not. And he gets a little bit loose off of 4 that time. Lost a little bit of time to the number 14 in front of him.
Yeah, he was really out of shape there. It was pretty impressive how out of shape he was. But I'll tell you that another driver we need to start looking at, the 511 Chevrolet of Justin Michael's doing really good, and so is Christian Peterson. But Ricky Howell Jr. is a driver I want to talk about right now. He's out of turn number 4 right now. He's trying to get the number 2 of Michael Atkins Jr., who slides it just wrong out of turn number 4, so he's going to get the position. So give another position to the 18. He's up from 26th position. He's done a very good job of navigating on the racetrack and in pit road. He got a lot of speed on pit road. He had to nudge the wall just a little bit, and that can happen occasionally with the right end sticks out just a tiny bit, but he has done a really, really good job of getting throughout the field, and so he'll pick up 8th place this lap, and that's a really big achievement at a track like this. So he's one of, actually, he looks to be our biggest mover today.
Yeah, Ricky Howell Jr. doing a fantastic job right now. I saw while we were watching that was Christian Peterson was under attack from Mark McCreary for about 2 laps or so. They went side by side going through the corners, but it's been Peterson decided to turn on the jets now. So we look back at your leader because Bobby Terrell, under threat of pass by Justin Michael, has closed that gap and started closing in on Joshua Banks. So it's now about 2/10 as they head back down into turns 3 and 4 once again. And Bobby Terrell trying to catch the leader before Justin Michael gets back to him. So the 14, the Honda Geico entry, some new sponsorship on the 14 and some new paint job, it looks like, is side by side behind those guys. It's going to be Walker and Christian Peterson, and Walker looks like he's not going to be able to hold on to that position. So Christian Peterson was starting to get past, and he decided to turn on the jets and just got past Jamie Walker, the B&C Lawn and Landscaping entry, down to 5th place and could be under threat from Mark McCreary here in the not too distant future. But Peterson continuing to work his way through this field, Austin.
And you know, the only other driver I'm noticing that's doing the top line is Justin Michael, and he's doing it mainly, I think, just because he's looking in his mirror and seeing Christian doing that. I don't think he was doing that up until he saw him doing that. But now, or because of teammates, the 88 was behind him too, and they're definitely talking to each other. But you know, this top line is grooving, and I'm really surprised more drivers are not using it. It's not as hard on the tires up there. It's a little bit faster because you get more momentum. I really am surprised that more drivers aren't trying that top side. Although I have a good feeling that will probably change as the night goes on, because the bottom's is going to be harder and harder to get through turns 4. Just turn 4 in general, it's so slippery through turn 4, especially when you get 200 laps on them. We've only got 60 laps really in the books right now, so we're getting closer and closer to halfway. But that top line is really where you want to be if you want the speed. And Michael is catching these 2 drivers in front of him, and I think Peterson might be holding off just a little bit right now, because when Michael catches them, it's going to be a side-by-side battle, and he won't have to work as hard for it. Yeah,
I think Peterson, it's probably going to be a good idea to just sit behind the 87 and wait for the battle to come. Either the 14 trying to pass for the lead or the 87 trying to pass the 14. So we'll have to see which is going to happen first. And it looks like the 14 continuing to close. That's going to be the battle that happens first, Terrell versus Banks. So Josh Banks trying to run away as quick as he can, but just hasn't been able to shake the 14 a whole lot. And lost a lot of time out of 4 there, and that'll bring Terrell right into this fight. And here we go through 1 and 2. Oh. Nope, not this time. Caution going to be out. It's the 48 with contact from the 39.
Big problems coming out of turn number 3 and into 4. We'll have to see exactly what happened, but it actually looks like it happened into turn number 3. Looks like the 22 just ran the 48 over going into turn number 4, and then it looks like the number 6 of Tommy Ryan got into him, and then, oh man, it looks like Dwayne Dunn could do nothing. He was just a bystander in that one. So Dwayne Dunn just, and the same thing with Tommy. Tommy was just kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time, but Dwayne Dunn slowed his truck as much as he could, just nowhere to go, and thank goodness no one else was involved, because that was an interesting one. I'll have to see what happened with those guys and why he drove so hard in the corner.
Yeah, that was an odd one for sure. It looks like the 48 was kind of out of place there. I don't know if Matt Mara just wasn't sure where to brake following the 48 going into the turn, or if the 48 broke too soon. So either way, Matt Mara gonna turn the 48 of Michael Wade, and that'll involve, like you said, Tommy Ryan, as well as the 39 of Dwayne Dunn, who comes in post and puts the 48, kind of hurts him even more, though. Pit stops once again on the docket, and it's everybody back down pit road, being led by Joshua Banks and the 36. Matco entry in this. We got to watch this time and see how the pit road entries are going to be. We saw a lot of problems that first time. This second time, these guys are going to have to be a whole lot cleaner, and now it looks like 36 looks okay, 14 looks okay, as does the 87, and these guys having to figure this out fast. And just to show how big of a fall it's been for Tommy Ryan, he is just going to get to his pit box. He won't have any issues, but smoke pouring from the Northern Tool and Equipment number 6 machine. So Tommy Ryan in a heap of trouble right now. As a battle off pit road, Josh Banks, Bobby Terrell, and Christian Peterson sneaks his way into that 3rd place position. A fantastic pit stop, 15 flat.
Yeah, and so you're going to move Justin Michael a couple positions back and move Peterson up 1, and then looks like the 88 of Jamie Walker will just stay where he's at. Walker's been a top 5 truck all year long, or all season long so far. But yeah, going back to the 6 of Tommy Ryan, that he would not have been in that position if he was if that pit road issue had not happened. I think he's probably going to be kicking himself for that, and it's really unfortunate that happened. But I want to go back to that accident, just because just watching the replays of my own screen and watching them on yours there, Cisco, I'm really puzzled by the way the 22 got in the corner. I mean, there was like not even a lift or anything. It was like he just drove right through him. I don't normally like sit on something like this, but I wonder if there was bad blood between them, because he just drove right through him. And typically what drivers will do is if they get into him, they'll let him go, and then the accident can kind of figure itself out. But because he kept into him, he spun him all the way around, and then the other guys weren't collected.
It looked to me like both drivers going into the incident there, Austin, were just out of place. The 48 and the 22 were both up the track a little bit from where they had been running, and maybe just not enough brake by the 22, or maybe too much brake by the 48. But either way, those two came together to bring out our second caution on the night. And it definitely benefited Christian Peterson, because now he doesn't have to worry about Justin Michael or Bobby Terrell to make the move for him. He's right there. He'll be able to jump right behind Josh Banks, and we'll have to see the wheel spin on this restart here, because when last time out we got the green flag, the 36 got a ton of it and was snaking around. I think he got a piece of the outside wall ever so slightly here. So pace car lights off should go out this time, and we should begin to double up the field. Yes, we do. The field will double up behind the iRacing.com Ford Mustang pace car. Josh Banks, Bobby Terrell, Christian Peterson, Jamie Walker, Justin Michael, Mark McCrary. Wow, I'm like 3 in a row mess up there. Aaron Bennett,
Cisco, I'm going to cut you off here, because they're lining up in a weird order, because Joshua Banks is starting in the outside row, and so is Peterson. This is odd. Yeah, that is odd. Christian Peterson would have restarted in 3rd, but it looks like that's everybody. Everyone's on the wrong order. He's on the wrong lane. So I guess they're just. I'm assuming iRacing has told them incorrectly where they're supposed to line up. So this is either going to make or break somebody where they were supposed to be. But I think Joshua is still going to be in charge of this restart, Cisco. I think Aaron Bennett's definitely giving these guys a lot of talking right now about what to do here on this restart. So pace car's going to go off, and I guess the server has just flipped these guys' rows on everybody. So this is where they're going to go. They're going to go restart anyway. So Joshua Banks with a semi-odd restart here. He will get a good jump, and so will Peterson on the outside lane. No contest for 2nd right now. Peterson's got the speed. And it looks like actually it will be a little bit of a fight on the inside, but they are very spread out for these first 3 positions. But Peterson just will blow the doors off the 14. He is gone, and the 14 is going to get pretty slow up the corner, and so the 88 and company, they will follow. But Banks has a good start on this one.
Yeah, Banks an excellent start here, and now single file behind Christian Peterson. It's Terrell, Walker, and Michael all looking for a position here as Terrell now going to dive it to the inside in turn number 3. Everybody down to the inside this early on with the fresh tires. And Walker looks like he has a little bit of a run, just not enough right now. So he will sit and continue to tailgate the 14 of Bobby Terrell. And it looked like on that restart, the number 2 of Michael Atkins Jr. got very loose and had to go to the middle groove to avoid putting that truck into a fence or into another truck. So Michael Atkins Jr. running in 10th place right now. He started in 8th and dropped 2 so far here. But everybody single file until Justin Michael gets to the inside of Jamie Walker through 3 and 4 this time, trying to follow Bobby Terrell through the corner. Side by side they go.
These guys are fighting really hard. You can tell the way they're fighting just because of the way they're coming up the corner. If they're really loose up the corner, that means they're not as racy, but they are like very wiggly, just small wiggles off the corner. That means they're really fighting that wheel off the corner. And I'd say that, Mike, these two guys are teammates, the 88 and the 87. They're teammates, and I think they're going to give each other a little bit of slack right here. I think the 87 is going to jump right in front of his teammate. Not very much room, but he will get right in front of him. And Michael has been very, very quick so far at this race. But someone also quick is Joshua Banks. He's over a second in front of Christian Peterson, but I'm sure there's a method to the madness of Peterson intentionally losing some ground. I think he's trying to maybe save some tires on the bottom of the track. Perhaps that top side is a little bit more wear and tear on the tires, but currently he is, still losing time to Joshua Banks. But we do remember Joshua lost time in the long run, so I think Peterson is not pacing the guys behind him as fast as they would probably like to. But here comes the 87 on the inside of the 14 right here. This is the battle for third.
Yeah, the battle continuing, and Justin Michael down to the inside. He'll claim the position from Bobby Terrell. So Justin Michael back into that 3rd place position once again that he was in before the restart here. Just the players are different in front of him as Bobby Terrell now falls back to 4th and right into the clutches of Jamie Walker, who has been definitely riding the coattails of Terrell as they go around the 11. That's Shane Hawther, a lap truck down on the inside. Not sure what happened with him, but either way, Hawther off the pace, and that could get dangerous.
Yeah, he actually just came out of pit road, wanted to stay out of the way. Almost thought he was more of a roadblock at that point, but looks like Christian Peterson will be passed by Justin Michael here out of turn number 2, and Peterson was actually looking to cross him over, but not the case. So Peterson's going to lose the position. I don't know if this is by design, but I think Peterson's definitely not as fast as he was earlier or something, so he will lose that. I think he might be trying to save tires, but nonetheless, he's lost a lot of time to the leader and to Justin Michael as the 14 of Bobby Terrell's trying to get around him too. And I think, looks like Terrell gets a little loose on the inside. And so he will continue to try and protect his position from the 88 there. It was actually a really good job he did by not blocking, but just staying to the bottom. So a little bit of a wiggle from the 14 is going to actually kind of get this little group spread out a little bit.
Yeah, the wiggle from Bobby Terrell, and they'll all spread out, but single file. I think a good way to go right now, lap 75. So we are essentially 3/8 through the way of this race. The next milestone coming at lap 100, which will be our halfway stop and will be our look at our iRacing.com midway race break. But still 25 laps from there, 24 now at the line as Banks continues to open up that gap. 1.5 seconds back to Justin Michael. And looks like Christian Peterson now going to under attack from Bobby Terrell. The 23 to me, Austin, does not look like he has a short run car. The longer we see this race go on, the better Christian Peterson is at saving his tires. But looks like right now, early on, as right behind him, Jamie Walker and Mark McCrary about just got it into each other, and you see a little bit of a cave on the 88's rear bumper. So side by side they'll go, and it got all sorts of nasty there for a moment.
You're not exactly sure if he's going to be too terribly happy about that. I don't see as much damage on my screen, but you definitely showed it there for just a second there. He's got a little bit of damage on that right rear, and it's going to affect him in the long run, especially at a track like this where being tight and loose is really important. The front end's not as important, but the rear end is definitely important with that downforce in some ways. But looking at the battle in front of him, like you said, Peterson is looking to actually pull away just a little bit from Terrell, and Terrell is coming back in the clutches of Walker right here. So this little small battle right here. Just inside the top 5, these 3 drivers fighting for 3rd place. I'm seeing a lot of different lines right here, but nonetheless, I'm seeing the battle behind them as well. Looks like the 78 and the 31 and the 3 of Aaron Bennett, those guys fighting for position as well. That Whataburger Chevrolet has done a lot of work, and I think not done for the 78 right here as he's continuing to advance. This is the highest he's been, I think, all race. He'll be in 7th here. These guys are passing number 6 of Tommy Ryan, who actually had a blown motor earlier. I know he did. I know for a fact he doesn't have it fixed, so that thing could probably blow up again, and that would be a Dunzo machine at that point. It'd be done for at least 35 minutes on the sim. So he's just trying to keep his car out there, get some laps, and get points out there. So as the racing passes lap 81. Looks like the battle for 3rd place is coming back to, again, Bobby Terrell trying to get around Peterson.
Yeah, Peterson continuing to lose time to Justin Michael here, but Michael has picked up on the gap to the leader right now. It's 8/10 from second to first right now, so Michael is slowly closing that gap that Josh Banks opened up earlier on. As you see, Hawthor once again lap traffic, so it looks like a long day in store for the driver of the 11. And also saw another truck. It's the 69 of Tessar, the purple entry, a new paint scheme on that truck. I was having trouble finding him, but it looks like there might have been some sort of incident kind of in the mid-pack here, because a couple of these guys coming back off pit road. So not sure if maybe a black flag got assessed to them, but either way, Josh Banks, that gap was closing. It opened back up to about a 10, so it could have been just the pass on the lap car of Shane Hawthor by Josh Banks that closed that gap up a little bit, but still under a second right now. Justin Michael to your leader.
Yeah, there's a few drivers, and I'm not really sure what's happened to them. To look at all the drivers that are lapped down, Tommy Ryan's the first driver lapped down, 3 laps down, and we saw what happened to him. Randy Tesser, I'm really unsure. His truck looks really good, at least that's from what I can see. I don't know what you're seeing on your side. Fine. And then I don't know what happened to Ricky Howell. I think he did get some damage from that wreck. Dwayne Dunn pummeled one of these guys. Oh, there goes the 6's engine. Yeah, his engine finally completely expired, so he's gonna have to find a way to get off the track safely. This is gonna be bad. He's on the back straightaway, so these guys need to get out of the way. But this might produce a caution. He's actually able to get off the track. We'll continue to monitor. He's in turn 3 right now, but he'll get back down to pit road actually, so he'll be fine. That little scare did just happen. Shane Hawthor is on the track. I think he entered late. That's another driver that's off the lead lap. He's looking to actually probably take one of his laps back, but nonetheless, it's not going to be a big deal. So that will kind of talk about your drivers who are off the lead lap, at least a few of them.
Yeah, and the 6 you mentioned, he came down with smoke pouring out of the truck. He was able, I think he took required repaired but didn't take the optional, Austin, and I think that did him in there. So looked like, because the 6 was out fairly early after that damage, like he came right back out on track like the second they went green. So I think that's what that was, and I think the 6 paid the price for it now. So game night over for Tommy Ryan, so we'll be seeing him on pit road for about an hour or so if he chooses to even stay in the race. He could even just pack the truck up and probably head home for the evening. We'll have to find out what the plan is going to be for Tommy Ryan. A huge points loss going to be for that driver of the CTA Northern Tool Equipment Chevrolet. So big time problems for the 6, but everybody else single file now, and it's Justin Michael 6/10 back up to your leader.
Oh, and Justin Michael had a really close moment with the wall right there. They got real intimate there for a second. He almost destroyed the wall there for a little bit. He's very, very close to hitting it. So he was not close enough to make it that scary, but it was enough that it looked like that truck was about to be just about gone. But he is starting to catch Joshua Banks, who Joshua's been a driver that's kind of surprised us tonight. I think, you know, he's shown some good finishes throughout the season, but right now I think he's doing a number on these guys right now by picking up some track position on pit road and taking what he's got and making the most of it. I think that's a really big deal from him and the rest of these guys, that he hasn't really been in the picture a whole lot this season, but he's leading a lot of laps tonight. I think he's led about 50 some odd laps tonight, which is the most so far. If he is able to lead the most laps, that'd be good for him. And also seeing some of the guys behind him, Justin Michael in particular, he's really sliding that truck out of turn number 4, and a lot of these drivers they're fighting it about every lap. So if you as a driver cannot handle that car out of the 4 and the pit stops are coming up, I'd go as soon as possible, because there's going to be some guys out here that are really able to handle these trucks right now.
Yeah, about 8 laps when they cross the line until halfway. And looking through your field, the only battle really going on right now, Greg Mall in the 12 trying to get past Jesse Williams in the 41, and he will complete that pass. So the 12, who coming off a huge night last week, not at all the Dover race he's wanted so far, started 2030s up to 16th, but he's been as far down as 29. And for Greg Mall, it's just been a long day, and still plenty of racing left to go for the 12 machine.
Yeah, he actually messaged me before the race and said this is going to be a long race for him. So, yeah, like you said, it is so far a long one, and it's going to finish that way, I think, unless he can find some strike of luck or find some speed out there on the track. I don't think he's really got the truck to do it today, but he's going to try and make last week, memorable one, but also try and build that momentum into tonight. Look at the big move from Justin Michael, trying to get around the 11 of Shane Hawthorne. It's a lap truck here, and this is going to be coming to make the lead a bit bigger of a deal, because now there's no cars or trucks in between Justin Michael and the leader Joshua Banks. We'll be trying to get him as we close in on the halfway mark. We'll have 5 laps until we hit lap 100 here in just a little bit.
Yeah, Michael now with a clear track to catch Joshua Banks, and I think the tires coming off the 36. He might be paying for that early lead that he got, Austin. Used up a lot of the tires. It got up to 1.5, but the problem is, once the tires start to go at Dover, with the amount of rubber we have on the track, you just cannot afford to have tires slowing you down. The 36 got in the fence that time, and I think Michael just about got in the fence. So very, very sketchy for your top 2 right now, but Michael will catch him. The question is, are either of them going to put it in the fence, or is it going to be a clean battle for the lead here? Because both these guys struggling right now, very loose.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen, because Peterson just got 2/10 on both those guys right here that last lap, and he's able to get around the 11 here shortly. I don't think it's going to matter, because those two, I think they're pretty equal. I think Michael's a bit faster, but I don't think he's fast enough to get side by side with him. I think Peterson's probably going to get to them before that, just because of the consistent speed. He's not really that loose at a turn number 4 like these guys are in front of him, and he's just really had the speed. Now, I didn't get him as much that last time around the stripe, but he has been very consistent out of the corners and hasn't really lost the handling on the truck that much. I think that's a really, really big deal. He is now running the bottom. He's not running the top like he was earlier in the race, and Justin Michael was running the top earlier as well, but he is definitely catching these guys. He's not getting loose out of the corners. He's a very, very fast guy right now.
Yeah, he is, but he'll also have to get around Hawthorne here if he wants a shot at Justin Michael, as Hawthorne, who I believe is on a little bit newer tires than these guys, several laps down. So Hawthorne now going to jump to the outside and just going to let the 23 go right now. The Jegs entry to the outside of the track, and caution going to be on your racetrack, and it's problems with Vandervorst and the 13 of Jody Green. As the pace car goes around them, it's going into turn number 1, and big time damage for both trucks.
You'll see here in a little bit, Cisco, you're getting the replay for us. Vorsta was in the outside wall, and I think Jody Green, looks like Vorsta just could not keep it together, and as he crossed the start finish line, banged the outside wall again, and Jody Green had nowhere to go. Jody just absolutely plowed into him. The 98 of Herring, I think that was Herring actually, barely squeaked by, but I'd say those guys are absolutely done for the evening. I think maybe Vorsta is able to continue to accelerate, but the 13 just, that's a done truck right there.
Yeah, and a long day going to be for both of those guys, and Jody Green has not had a good day either. He's gotten into the wall several different times, and this is going to be the one that could break the camel's back here, because the 13, while it wasn't smoking, it was still big time damage, and yeah, that is a nasty impact for the 13 of Jody Green. The pace car went around them and is now pacing the field through 3 and 4 as the cars head down pit road once again. It's going to be, no, it's not actually. It looks like the pace car took a little bit longer to try and catch these guys, as looks like Mark McCrary right now as I am trying to sort out what's going on because
they're coming off pit road right now, actually.
Oh, they are getting off pit road. Okay, so there was a little bit of a delay on the replay there.
And the 87 of Justin Michael has the lead now.
Yep. Yeah, Justin Michael with the lead as we get ready to cross halfway, Austin.
And that brings us to the halfway point here, Cisco. So I think it's a good time to take a look at the Midway Race Break, brought to you by iRacing, the leading online racing simulation. Developed from the beginning as a centralized racing and competition service, iRacing organizes, hosts, and officiates races on virtual tracks all around the world. In the fast-paced world of esports, iRacing is a one-stop shop for online racing, with officially sanctioned racing from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, World of Outlaws, and many more. So, up at the front, we're going to see an exchange of positions by a multitude of drivers, and it's going to start with the leader of Justin Michael, who will lead Christian Peterson on this next restart. See if they have a weird issue with the lanes again, but I doubt that.
There we go. There we go. We're a little bit on replay. That's why I was losing my mind.
So we got everything on track now. So Bobby Carroll, he'll be in the 3rd position. Jamie Walker, he is currently 4th. Then you've got Aaron Bennett 5th. Art McCrary, he's in the 6th position. 7th is Michael Atkins Jr. And Steve Price is 8th. Scott Simley 9th. Tim Matthew rounds out your top 10. And I believe we got our technical difficulties taken care of.
Yeah, we're good now. Chris Cabot 11th, 12th gonna go to Greg Mall, 13th to Scott Formosa, Jesse Williams running 14th, 15th to Matt Mara, 16th to Rich Jetty, 17th gonna go to John Jenkins, 18th to George Hendricks, 19th to Michael Priester, 20th gonna be Stephen Herring, 21st gonna go actually to Stephen Herring now as Robert Gillenwater was able to slide in 20th, or looks like we might update yet again here at the line. So right now we're showing Priester 19th, and then Robert Gillenwater, Herring, Joshua Banks, Dustin Hall, Ralph Vandervorst, Michael Waite. And then behind him, it looks like Jody Green. And then Randy Tessar, Tommy Ryan, Ricky Hall Jr., and Dwayne Dunn round out your top 30, Coop.
Rounding out the last 4 positions is going to be Dwight Beverly, Shane Hawthorne, Louis Robinette, and Brian Cutts. Looks like the last 2. It looks like Brian Cutts did not start the race, so if he has, it was very, very late in the game. So that's been a look at your iRacing Midway Race Break. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities, you can visit iRacing.com /World of Outlaws to take advantage of their exclusive promo codes, and that can get you 1-year membership for half off, or you can get 3 months for $5. Again, that's iRacing.com /World of Outlaws. And so with the mini festivities here, we've got oval, dirt, oval, road, and dirt road now with GRC. So the 4 disciplines of iRacing racing here is definitely something you don't want to miss. There is free content that you can do all 4 disciplines on them. So Justin Michael will get the field going. He actually definitely surprised me. So green flag in the air. Justin Michael went really, really earlier on the gun. And so he is down and away. Cisco was not expecting that. I had just finished my spiel, and he's already gone.
Yeah, Justin Michael choosing, unlike the rest of the leaders we've had tonight, to go as soon as the pace car drops. And he has opened up an early gap now. Terrell and Walker going to go at it for 3rd. Jamie Walker, the BNC Lawn and Landscaping entry, down to the inside. And side by side they will go, even now across the line. Just Jamie Walker edging out Terrell now, as Terrell going to have to drop in, and it's BNC sandwich right now as Aaron Bennett has worked his way back up into the 5th position. The 2 green entries are working their way through the field right now. Walker has been perennially up in this 5th top 5, but Aaron Bennett, remember, fell back during that initial pit stop, had some trouble getting into his box. Well, now he's back.
Yeah, he's definitely made up all those positions, and he had lost a lot. And I think that was that give and take that I was talking about earlier. He gave those positions away because I think he knew he was faster in the long run, and now it has been a little bit longer in the run of the race. And so right now he's definitely in a good position to kind of capitalize instead, not let that get to him. And so 5th place is not exactly where he wants to be, but it's only 2 spots behind where he started. So definitely pretty good. Look at the battle for second. Jamie Walker almost bumped number 23 of Christian Peterson. Looks like we got a slow car of, I think that's Forster right there on the bottom of the track, and I don't know if he blew his engine or not, but he definitely had a lot of damage from that last wreck. But looks like the 88 is all over Christian Peterson, and at turn number 4, Peterson's going to get away just by a little bit with the speed he's got.
Yeah, Peterson going to be able to get by, and looks like he's going to grab that second place position for now, but it looks like Walker is not done, so we will have to see how that goes. And meanwhile, Justin Michael taking the Joshua Banks approach, because he's opened up to about a second right now on the field, as side by side goes Steve Price Jr. and Scott Simley, the defending champion, as they go into 1 and 2. 2 Toyotas working their way through here, and 3 Toyotas if you add in Tim Matthews, as Scott Formosa also goes by Chris Cabot, you see in the background as well. But single file through everybody behind Peterson and on. And this is going to be your battle pack for a little while, until I think Justin Michael, we could see tire wear affect the 87. We've seen this story once before. Last time we had a green flag run, leader got out to a huge lead, and then he was slowly getting caught. So Justin Michael could be in the same sort of situation Josh Banks is, or was, or it could be very different.
Yeah, I think with the fact that you're the leader, you don't have anyone in front of you to really say you're pushing the truck too much, you're not pushing it hard enough. But at the same time, having that big, massive lead kind of lets you just kind of do what you want. You know, you pace the field, but if the field doesn't want to do what you, like if Peterson doesn't want to do that, he's done this twice now. He's just kind of ran his own pace. I don't think he's really just drove away, but he does have a good lead, and I think this is a good time while these drivers are spread out and while he's got himself a good lead. We will take a moment to step aside as we have just crossed over the halfway point. You've been watching United Sim Racing BNC Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series here at Dover, as we are on lap 112 of 200. We'll be right back.
The yellow flag is out. Pit road is now open. Keep your eye on those gauges. We'll give you 4 tyres. 3, 2, 1, now. We're done. Get going.
Welcome back to the Dover International Speedway as Justin Michael continues to lead here. The BNC Lawn Landscaping Truck Series. Justin Michael has got himself a almost 0.3 second lead over Christian Peterson. We know that Christian Peterson has a long run car, but does Justin Michael have a long run car? We say yes because he's able to catch Joshua Banks earlier, who finds himself in the 13th position, pretty far back there actually. But the lead is slowly, very, very slowly getting smaller. At least that's what I've noticed the last couple laps here as we took a small break. And as we hit the lap 121 mark this time by, we'll have 80 laps to go, but I think we've kind of hit a calm in this race. You know, there's very spread out drivers. I think the closest interval is actually between Matt Mara and Rich Jetty, who are fighting for the 14th and 15th positions, but these drivers are very, very spread out.
Yeah, they are very spread out, and it is an interesting battle right now because Dustin Hall getting involved with Rich Jetty and Matt Mara right now, so it's a kind of three-car battle amongst those guys. But since we just came out of the commercial break, we do want to remind you that coverage of the USR BNC Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series is brought to you by BNC Lawn and Landscaping. Our mission is to deliver premium landscapes to commercial and residential properties. We are located in southern Delaware, providing services to Sussex County as well as surrounding areas. If you have any landscaping needs, make sure to call them at 302-381-6073, number on your screen. BNC Lawn and Landscaping, the official title sponsor of the USR BNC Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series, and both trucks doing a fantastic job right now. Aaron Bennett, the representative of BNC Lawn and Landscaping, and his teammate, of course, of Jamie Walker.
Yeah, those two drivers did fairly well last week. Sadly, Aaron was not able to get the result from it, but Jamie had a top 3 finish, and those Young Gun Motorsports guys do a very, very good job, and to have their 1, 2, 3 finish, I think that's the first time they've ever been able to do that in the history of this league. And with their, I think, 4-car team, I think that compromises Justin Michael, Jamie Walker, Aaron Bennett, and then it would be darn it, I think it would be Justin Michael, Jamie Walker, Greg Mall, and Aaron Bennett. Greg, because he won the race. I can't forget that guy. And so that was the first time that they were able to. And I think Steve Price Jr. was part of that group too. So a group of 5 drivers that were together. I think they're the biggest team among these guys. So it's a little bit easier for them to go to 1, 2, 3 finish, but still difficult nonetheless. But that lead is actually getting a little bit larger now between Justin Michael and Christian Peterson. So I think it's either getting larger, just kind of going back and forth. Either way, it's still a long ways between those two. And can't forget that these guys have limited fuel cells. We haven't seen green flag pit stops yet, but you said it earlier on the broadcast that the pit speed limit is so slow. You have to go from a blistering 140 miles an hour throughout the corners to a very slow 35 miles an hour.
And you definitely want to make sure you don't get caught out on the wrong side of the strategy either, because tires such a premium here at Dover that you do not want to afford to be out there wasting time on old tires if you can be on new tires. As Christian Peterson going to go around the 48 lap truck of Michael Wade, and I saw Michael Priester hit pit road. Maybe a different strategy or different cycle. No, he actually pulled that truck behind the wall. So Michael Priester deciding that to call it quits tonight early is the driver of the 64. He'll finish probably around the 27th range, as looks like we still have 22 trucks still on track, and 2 more actually between Waite and Hawther. So 24 trucks still on track, and everybody else has pulled it behind the wall. Priester, Vandervorst, Green, Tessar, Ryan Howell Jr., Dunn, Beverly, Louis Robinette, and then Brian Cutts, who did not start.
That list of drivers you just noted is very, it's very different than a group of drivers you wouldn't expect to have issues, but nonetheless, the Miles Monster has definitely caught his prey tonight. He may not be done, as we have just about 70 laps to go here. It could happen even to any driver. You saw Dwight Beverly just lose it earlier on, so I think we saw an exchange of positions, but I don't know who it was. But nonetheless, these guys are still really spread out. I think it might have been between Banks and Scott for most of that last time by, as they are pretty close together here. in the top 10. And definitely talking about Joshua Banks here for a second. He was leading this race for quite some time and came down pit road, and must have had a pit road issue because he started in 6th place, so he'll have the 6th pit stall. I didn't see him have any issues that were very noticeable, so I must have had an issue or a pit road penalty or something, but he's going to have to really claw his way back up there to get the glory he had at the beginning of this race.
Yeah, Josh Banks definitely going to have to jump on and continue to gain. I believe that was during the pit road that was cut off, so we didn't get a chance to see what happened. But either way, Joshua Banks back in 10th position, and a long road to hoe here for the driver of the 36. A little bit of a battle going on behind him, though, and it's the 5 of Chris Gabeau trying to track down Rich Jetty in the 93, and Jetty has been around on screen today, but just nowhere really near the front as the driver of the 93, the Caterpillar / Umbrella Corporation. Well, never mind, throw it out the window because caution is out, and it's Steve Price Jr., the 78.
We had a lot of good things to say about him earlier in the race, and looks like he was avoiding something, actually. It looks like the 11 got in contact with the 3, I think, of Aaron Bennett off the corner or something. Oh no, Aaron Bennett and the 11 got together. I don't know what happened there. We're going to take a couple licks, but it looks like Bennett didn't use the track. I don't know. He didn't go up the track or thought the 11 wasn't there or was farther down, but nonetheless, they get together off the corner.
Yeah, and that'll cost the 3 some valuable damage and time on track, and look to see, it looks like the 11 caught the apron a little bit and came up into the 3 of Aaron Bennett, and the 78 just lazy spin to try and avoid that one. The real guys who suffered out of that caution's gonna be that 3 Shane Hawthorne, trying to stay out of the way as he was laps down, but it backfired on him, and as a result, everybody back down pit road, so the opportunity for green flag pit stop slowly going away. They would have to make a green flag pit stop once if it went green from here, but apart from that, everybody back down pit road once again, trying to find their stall and see if they can hopefully have a good pit road and maybe try and pick up a couple spots. Trucks moving into their stalls.
I think the 87 had a little bit of a stutter, but I think one of the biggest things we're going to watch here is to see if Aaron Bennett stays in his pit box longer than these other guys. So looking at Bobby Terrell, who's been in the top 5 for the whole night, and really looking for him to have a good night. But there they go. Looks like Michael will slide those tires through pit road, and it's a 3-way battle there for 3rd place. I think Christian Peterson actually lost a couple positions on this one, so he is going to, I think, lose 2nd and then 3rd there to the number 88 and the number 14. So they had good pit selections, and they were able to execute pit road a little bit better than Peterson that time. And so they will compromise the top 4. And it looks like Mark McCrary, who's kind of been that driver we haven't talked about a whole lot tonight. He started the outside pole and got up in the top 5 just all day tonight. I think if you get the top 5 and you're hardly talked about, it's probably a really good thing, at least from my point of view, that you just did your job and just did it right. So top 5 comprises of Justin Michael, JB Walker, Bobby Terrell, Christian Peterson. Then you'll have Mark McCrary, Michael Atkins Jr., Scott Simley will take over the 7th position. Then Joshua Banks is 8th, Tim Matthews 9th, and Rich Jetty, he'll get the 10th position out of that exchange.
Yeah, and I was just getting ready to talk about the 93 because we haven't been talking about him. He's come up once or twice, but has just kind of been hanging around. And now Jetty in the position has had a decent day, started 29th, so he's up 19 spots and still has the potential to pick up a bunch more positions here, Austin. So Jetty, once again, has been kind of the quiet man up through the field, sort of like what Mark McCrary's done, except he's come a lot further for it. So Rich Jetty looking to try and hope that this goes to the end in his favor. He could definitely use another good run here.
Yeah, and he definitely got a lot of screen time last couple weeks ago, actually, when we were at I think it was Lucas Oil, where he had flipped upside down and rolled a couple times, and he had come back in that race. And he told us earlier on in an interview we had pre-broadcast that he had he kind of dislikes coming from the back to the front, and tonight he's really done that so far. So He's come from 29th to 10th, biggest mover all night, without a doubt. I don't have to do my math for that. I can just look at it. But so he'll start. I think this is his first time actually in the top 10 on this restart. So big gains by him. A couple falls from guys like Christian Peterson, and then another big gain. I haven't talked about Scott Simley hardly at all this season as our defending champion, but he's been just kind of in the right place at the right time.
And that's kind of the MO of Scott Simley. It was basically him last season, was just around at the right time and peaked at the right time. So still plenty of racing left to go this season, but we are on round number 10. So keep in mind the playoffs not too distant in the future here. So keep an eye on that 68. I think we'll start to see him closer and closer to the front as we get closer to playoff racing. But right now, Justin Michael, Jamie Walker, Christian Peterson, Bobby Terrell, and Michael Atkins Jr. will round out your top 5 as the field going to be in the hands of Michael. And let's see when he goes this time. He went immediately last time.
Pace car is about to roll down, and he does not immediately, but he does go shortly after. So he goes again, and it's a big jump by the guys behind him too. The 88 was not going, and he must have, I don't know, their teammates, so I'd assume you'd at least let him know when he's going, but he did not get going that quickly. So looks like the 88 Jamie Walker held both drivers up, and I think the 14's going to be able to clear Christian Peterson just barely. He does not go to take the line just yet until about now, but that is the battle for the 3rd position. They start to line themselves up single file throughout the first 13 or so positions. Then you've got the number 12, I think that's Greg Mall on the outside of Matt Mara. Greg Mall's another guy who likes to come out through the field, but look at the battle for the lead. Looks like it's going to be between Justin Michael and Jamie Walker. Jamie hasn't won a race this season yet. He's looking for some glory. Goes to the outside lane, and this is going to be his pass for the lead, or at least it's going to try. He's going to have the outside lane. It's where he wants to be. He'll have it at the line. So Jamie Walker is going to be our new leader.
Yeah, Jamie Walker around the 87 of Justin Michael, and new leader for the first time. That was Walker's first lap led today, and has been around all day, but just not at the front. Meanwhile, battle behind these guys around Scott Simley and Josh Banks going at it side by side, and Tim Matthews the onlooker here for this one. But yes, Jamie Walker out to the front and still battling are those guys, so we'll stay with them. But also looking Christian Peterson way up the track as well, and could be a short battle with Mark McCrary here if that continues. Meanwhile, Banks able to clear Simley just as they head into turn number 3.
That was a very, very dicey move from the number 36 of Joshua Banks. Colt is going right down to the bottom of the track and got some momentum doing that too, but at the same time it will, I think the way he did that might make that right front squeak a little bit. Other than that, it was really good to execute and pass. So now it looks like everyone's single file. A little bit of snake down the back straightaway, as it looks like maybe we have a little bit of a battle. Not really, but it looked like the number 93 was getting some pressure there for just a minute.
Ooh, did Peterson, I think, just touch the wall?
Yes, he did. I think he's going to have a little bit of right rear damage. That doesn't show it on my end, but looks
he got very close.
Yeah, if he did, it was close, but yeah, that's only going to get worse and worse as these guys get closer to the end of the race. They're almost 50 laps to go here so far this evening. They're over an hour in the cockpits of those cars, and 1 hour and over 13 minutes of time in this race. Last week was definitely a long race. You heard a lot of these guys were winded, but even on a track like this, you're turning a lot more degrees in the car, and the wheels fighting you depending on how much force feedback you put into it. And these guys are going to be probably as equally tired as last week as they are, or this week as they were last week, if not more, just because of how much more vigorous it is to race at a place like this.
Yeah, not only is the surface very abrasive at Dover, it's also very bumpy, as well as just being a lot of banking in these corners. And with Charlotte, you have the advantage of a lot of these drivers have a lot of laps at Charlotte. Not the case at Dover, despite the fact we do come here twice a year in the Cup Series, in the various Cup Series on iRacing. Only not the perennial stop for things like hosted races and such is Dover. So these guys visited track a lot, but just not normally on the sim. As we were watching the battle with Tim Matthews, Jetty, and Scott Simley is now a battle. Michael Atkins Jr. and Joshua Banks going to go at it, and it's Banks looking to clear. Yes, he will. The Pepsi machine out of turn number 4.
That was another close maneuver by the 36 of Banks. I mean, there was not that much room between those two guys, and I'm worried a little bit with these moves. If he makes another one like that, if he's not careful, he might misjudge or miscalculate it, because there was not much room between himself and Junior. So I think he's got to be careful. I mean, I think he knows what he's doing too. He's a very quick driver tonight. So he's got 6th place now, looking for a top 5 of those guys in front of him. They've been fighting kind of all night as well. Mark McCrae's actually shown the nose to Christian Peterson a couple times these last few laps. Peterson, I think, is kind of stonewalled right now with that pit execution that just didn't happen for him. I don't know what's going on with the 23. He looked like he was going to be the man to beat at one point, but apparently it's just looks like he's not really picking up much speed here. But one driver that does have speed is Jamie Walker. So I think Cisco, it's the driver who's up front. It's just got a huge advantage today.
Yeah, and just able to open up that gap, so the air going in favor, the fresh air, clean air of for Jamie Walker. It was for Justin Michael and Joshua Banks earlier on in the race, and the slinky effect taking part for everybody behind those guys. Justin Michael, Bobby Terrell, Christian Peterson, and Mark McCrary all on the line right now, and very spaced out through the rest of your field right now as you see the 11 making his way back on track. Hawthor going to try it again down to the inside and just try and make as many points as he can. Still a lot of trucks he can pass who have pulled it behind the wall, so Hawthor going to try and make a go of it this time.
Definitely going to try and do that. Battling up towards the front is getting pretty dicey as well, though. Looks like battle for 2nd place is getting close. Peterson's going to give the bumper to the 14 here. This is battle for 3rd position right here. He definitely gave him a slight nudge out of the corner. So this battle right here is getting really close, but as you said, Hawthor back there in the field as well. I think you said Hawthor. Did you say Hawthor? I don't remember.
Yes.
Yeah, that battle is slightly a little bit less stressful as this one up here, as Peterson just was so close to getting into 14 there.
Yeah, Hawthor just coming back out on track after having to get damage repaired to the 11. So he'll try and gain a couple more positions, but continuing as Christian Peterson through 3 and 4 to try and hound Bobby Terrell right now. And dude, be nice. We've been seeing it all night off the various right front cameras that we've mounted to these trucks. So the spoiler messages in full effect tonight for Bobby Terrell, trying to make sure he doesn't have anyone clout into the rear of his truck. So we'll have to see through 3 and 4 if Christian Peterson will obey that, or if he might get a little impatient here, because Austin 3/4 of the way through this race, past the 3/4 mark I should say. Time's starting to wear thin on these drivers.
Yeah, and doesn't want to make Hippie too upset. Hippie's paint shop's on the back bumper of that Chevrolet of Bobby Terrell, and I'll tell you what, this will be a really big race for Bobby here tonight if he's able to walk away with the top 5. As Christian Peterson's going underneath him, he's going to have the nose, and looks like Bobby's going to lay off, but Bobby also had the speed to get around Justin, I think, that last time by, but outside's not working as well as it used to, and the 23 is going to be able to get under him side by side for 3rd position, last podium spot here, and I think Bobby's not going to be able to hold him off right here, so Peterson's going to be able to get a 3rd position. Mark McCrary wants to try and get by it as well, but he's not going to. He's going to have to wait another couple laps, so Bobby Terrell is going to have to concede just for the moment, but I don't think he's going to give up here on this guy.
No, I don't think he will, Austin, and all this battling 1.7 seconds behind Justin Michael. The longer these guys go at it, wear out their tires, Jamie Walker will probably get caught before the end of this, but the question is, these guys, how many tires are they going to have left to even try and make those moves happen, Austin? It's not. Ooh, wow, look at the 23. Got a huge run rolling the center of the corner, and he's there.
Oh my god.
And like a magnet to the back end of the 87, nose to tail through the backstretch, now into 3 and 4. Down to the inside goes Peterson.
There's actually a lot of trust that goes with Peterson to do that, and they make contact to the front straightaway. Holy cow.
I don't know if that was trust right there.
No, that was a little bit of frightening, to be honest with you. But there's a lot of trust. If you're that close to the... Oh, they make contact again. He almost throws it in the wall. So I'll quit talking about trust, and maybe they'll just...
I don't think this is trust, Austin.
No.
I think he's trying to get past him at this point.
Well, what I meant was that the fact that if the 87 made a mistake, he's going to clear him here out of the corner. If he hadn't trusted the 87 in the corner, he would have been that close. He would have tried a different approach, but he was so close. There was no room for error for the 87. I think he knew that the pressure was definitely on, and so now here becomes the hunt of Jamie Walker by Christian Peterson. He's obviously got the speed, and he's showing it right now. Now, the thing is, do these guys come down pit road? For tires, for fuel, for 2 tires? What's the strategy going to be? And quite honestly, I'm really unsure. But Justin Michaels lost it, I think. He's lost 2 positions now, and I think the number 36 is making it passing the inside of the 31 as well. And I think looks like the 87 is trying to cross the 14 over. So he's not done yet. He's definitely trying. So 2 battles right here for 3rd and back.
Yeah,
he's got turnover! Oh, no! Simley's gonna get some of it.
Got Simley, Mark McCrary, Joshua Banks, 3 of the trucks involved, and the battling had gotten more intense. We were getting closer to the end of this thing, Austin, and turn 4 at Dover is a very dangerous place because of the coming off of the banking. If you don't have your truck exactly where you need it, you will go into the wall, or you'll go into the truck on your outside. And for Mark McCrary, it was actually him coming off the top groove getting in to Joshua Banks. So the 31 gets loose off the corner into the 36, and nowhere for Tim Matthews nor Scott Simley to go. Matthews goes in the inside wall and somehow survives. I think Simley will survive at 2, considering the damage wasn't at super high velocity, but just nowhere for either of those guys to go.
And for Simley, I think if you watch it a few times, you'll say, you know, he could have went up the track, should have turned right, but he had already committed to getting on the brakes so hard that they were starting to slide, and with the banking on a track like this, it just throws the car down the speedway. So I think for Simley, it's a really unfortunate situation, but he's dealt a hand he's got to really deal with right now. And Tim Matthews, he's going to keep his positioning coming into Hound Pit Road. Whether he gets the damage fixed, that's a different story. So Peterson comes down pit road, eases into his pit box. Everyone else coming down right now. And it's all eyes on these guys up front. Jamie Walker, everyone in front. These guys have to make this pit stop count. They cannot mess up at all. They're going throughout the field. Don't see any drivers having any big issues. Also seeing the 36 coming into the picture. Definitely unfortunate for him. He had a good race going into this. So 88 of Jamie Walker is going to get a good one right here. But the 14 of Bobby Terrell will win the race off pit road. This will be his first lap led here when he comes by the start-finish line, I think, of the entire season. They'll win the battle on pit road, but I actually think, yeah, no cars in front of him either, so he will lead this lap, but it'll be Darrell Walker, Michael Atkins Jr., then Peterson again. Tell you what, Peterson better be getting on his crew, because I think Peterson has the fastest truck, but with the time running down, I don't know if he's going to make it to the end here. But as we get a moment to settle down here, might be our last caution, we don't know, it might not be, coverage of tonight's race of the United Sim Racing BNC Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series is brought to you by Joel Real Timing, the official timing software of LSRTV. Whether you spend time on the sim behind the wheel, on the pit box, or from the spotter stand, JRT is the go-to software for iRacing timing and scoring analytics. Get yourself a basic download or get the pro version today at joel-real-timing.com. And tell you what, they got a couple more laps here, but I think what we're going to see right here is a 34-35 lap dash that is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Well, Austin, I mean, you can throw pit strategy. That goes out the window at this point. We know these guys can make it to the end. It'll probably be 35 laps to go when they take the green flag. That shouldn't be an issue. So for everybody out here, it's going to be a question of, are we going to see Bobby Terrell do the same thing that we've seen the rest of these leaders do and get out to an early lead? It's happened with Walker. We saw Michael do it. We saw Joshua Banks do it. And now the question is, if you can get out to a lead that big, is it worth it, Coop, to try and just press it early so that there isn't a chance for these guys to catch you? Or what do you think the strategy call is if you're Bobby Terrell? Do you want to build that lead, get away from absolutely everybody and hope you can hold on to it? Or do you want to save something and be a little bit closer, but maybe have better equipment for the end?
I think it depends on how well you think you can block everybody. If you're Bobby and you think you can block the entire field, or at least anybody coming up to you, I think you go with the longer strategy. But at the same time, if you get a lot of drivers behind you, they're going to be impatient, and then that could ruin a lot of other problems. But I think the best idea is just to run a very consistent, aggressive, but not too aggressive, and that's a hard line to follow. And so Bobby's, and then also you got to watch out for Jamie. He was aggressive as heck on the last restart, and it paid off. And you know, with that big of a lead, I think even that big of a lead is hard to lose if you have just a little bit more worn tires. So the top 5 is Terrell, Walker, Michael Atkins. Oh, sorry, Justin Michael Atkins Jr. There's a lot of Michaels in this series, and Christian Peterson. I'm going to throw in 6th and 7th here. Greg Mall, Bennett, and I'll just do the top 10. Jetty, Gibbo, Mara. That completes your top 10. Pace car off and away. Bobby Terrell will get this restart going, but when will he go? It's going to be different than these other guys. He goes now. Green flag is in the air. Jamie Walker and the 87 are in it as well. Looks like the 2 of Atkins Jr. is going to lose out on this one. And the 23 wanted to go 3 wide for a moment. Did not happen. And so it looks like the top 4 will get filed. And look at the 3 of Aaron Bennett. He's right there back into it. He got the damage fixed, so he's going side by side for 5th place.
Yeah, Bennett down to the inside of Michael Atkins Jr. through 3 and 4 that time. And he's going to try and make it work. And it won't stick, as it looked like Matt Mara got into the wall a little bit. He'll fall back, and it's going to be all sorts of a mess back around near him. But up through your field, Christian Peterson now down to the inside, and he'll get around Justin Michael. So top 3, big shakeup that time, as it's still a mess around Matt Mara, the 41 of Williams, and all sorts of trucks back here. It got super sketchy.
Battle for the lead, though, however, Bobby Terrell was under heavy pressure from Jamie Walker right here, and Peterson is also going to be right there as well. And here he comes out of the corner number 2. 88's got a good run. He's going to show the inside, and he's going to have the nose just a brief bit. He's not giving a whole lot of room, that being Bobby Terrell, but he's going to have not just the nose, but also the front wheel there too. And so he's going to be right there, still in his inside going to turn number 1. This is a good fight to watch. Here he comes with a lot of speed, but Peterson's also coming along as well. But the 88's going to have the nose, the door, and he'll have the wheel here going to turn 3. He'll get the pass done more than likely right here. Yes, he will. And then looks like Peterson's going to also try and capitalize on it. So he'll go side by side for 2nd. How much time does Walker have? Oh, he's going to get the wall. He's going to get the wall. And so this is going to really hinder that progress he just had. So he put a little bit of a reset on it. And also 14 still on the outside. Doesn't give him a whole lot of room, but he's able to go up to the wall. Walker's got to do his best laps right here.
Yeah, Walker has to get away from Christian Peterson, but Peterson has cleared the 14, and Justin Michael, who looked to try and do the same, got the door shut on him. So Justin Michael stuck. Right now is way to the inside went, I believe that was Greg Mall and Michael Atkins Jr., so they'll go 2 by 2 behind these guys. That'll get real close right there for the 2 of Atkins Jr. And meanwhile, Walker cannot break away from Christian Peterson right now. Peterson staying within eye shot and a shot at maybe trying to bonsai if he has to. But Walker needs to pull away right now.
Walker looking for his first win on the season. Christian Peterson looking for a long shot to get into the playoffs. And then Bobby Terrell trying to have, I think, just a really good race from a lot of bad luck and just not good performances so far this season, as tonight's a lot different from the rest of his season. But the 87 of Justin Michaels got right front damage, which is why I think he did not have that speed earlier on. But right now, he's actually got some speed. That right front damage is not hindering that much. But that battle for the lead, I think, will come in time. Peterson did lose a little bit that time, but I know that Peterson's got himself a long run truck. But how much does Jamie Walker have? We haven't really seen a whole lot from him, but that truck up front typically does a little bit better. We'll just have to see. We're getting closer to 25 laps to go.
Yeah, 25 laps to go, and that'll be the 7/8 mark, I should say, of this race. We're past the 3/4 mark already, past that at lap 150, and Peterson has lost a little bit of time, but it's only less than a tenth right now. He went from around a 299 to a 367 in his last couple laps, so it looks like for Walker, trying to edge out that gap as much as he can and try and pull away. Now to the 391 range goes Jamie Walker, so slowly pulling away from Christian Peterson. And Bobby Terrell slowly pulling away from Justin Michael, but I think Terrell's trying to just kind of bridge the gap a little bit and try and stay with Peterson. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that, though. This could be a two-truck fight to the end of this thing.
I'm watching the two lines between these drivers. Looks like Peterson had the slight advantage that last time. That was the first lap that Walker was in the nines, and it's the consistency that's a difference. I see that the 88 goes closer to the wall, and I see that the 23 still has himself a little bit of a distance between the wall. So any bigger mistake by the 88, that'll send him right in the wall, not just for the first time either. So each little time, looks like Peterson's starting to slightly bite off that lead. It's not much, but it's becoming a lot in the long run, in the long scheme of things. So under 25 laps to go. This is the battle to watch. The distance to watch and the interval between these guys is getting closer, and the lines are getting different too. I think Jamie's getting a little tight inside the middle of the corner, which is definitely the worst spot to do that in, because then your exit speed is going to get a little bit slower. But he did pull away just by a little bit, so these two guys are really at it right now.
Yeah, they are. Christian Peterson has not led a lap all day. Jamie Walker is up. This will be his 34th lap led tonight, so definitely Christian Peterson looking to get to the front. He hasn't been able to do it all night. He's been there, just not in that P1 position. So meanwhile, we'll look back through your field, and looked like a couple drivers getting out to the inside. Might have been Robert Gillenwater, yeah, it was in the 4, who got way loose coming out of the corner and jumped to the inside. But Steve Price just going by Jesse Williams back in your field, and every couple battles just kind of happening out through there. Close guys right now, Rich Jetty and Chris Cabot fighting for that 8th place position.
Yeah, that's right. That's a little bit of a big group of drivers right there. And to be fair, I think a lot of them are kind of holding their cards, but I think the 3 right there is trying to get the move on. Goes the nose just a little bit right there, but it's not going to be quite yet. That's teammate Justin Michael going to turns 3 and 4, and those guys just about the same interval between those guys is the same interval behind them. Here goes the 12 on the inside, but he's going to peak back down. But that interval is about the same between the leaders of Peterson and Walker, and that interval has gotten a little bit closer here. Peterson's going to show the nose at the bottom. He's not going to go for it, of course. He's too far back, but he is definitely showing that he is there, showing the nose at the bottom. But not only has Christian Peterson going to have to catch him, which he has almost done, he's going to have to get the job done and pass him and not make a mistake. So he is there. When is this pass going to happen? We're under 20 laps to go, and this battle could actually go until the rest of the race. It could go to till lap 200. We'll have to see what Christian Peterson has in mind. Is Jamie Walker's just got to lay down good laps and really hope that he's able to be a little bit faster, a little bit more consistent than Peterson here, as Peterson had just a little bit of a bobble out of 4 that time.
Yeah, Peterson is there, and just down the road is Bobby Terrell. It's about 8/10 or so from him to your leaders, and you can see that gap's opened up. However, if Peterson gets to the inside of Walker and those two battle for a couple laps,
there he goes.
Terrell into this fight, but now Peterson down to the inside.
He's going to get right next to him, and this is a great move by him. He dove it into the corner, and he just took the positioning away from the 88, left the door just a little bit open, and Peterson went for it and knew that there's more grip there than the top side. And so the 88, he's going to battle back. He's got a lot of speed on the outside, so still side by side, but I think Peterson's going to have the run going into turn 3 that he wanted last lap. But here comes the 88 on the outside. Does the 88 have speed right now here coming in out of 4? He does. This is a good fight right here with 16 laps to go. Jamie Walker had it at the line, but we've got 16 more laps of this, and I don't know if Jamie Walker's gonna be able to hold on to the outside lane, but he's in the wall. That might be it. Christian Peterson gets the lead. Jamie Walker to the outside wall.
And it was Walker got tight off of 2 on that top side, and that's all it took. And the 88, whose second brush with the wall this run has thrown away his chance at the lead, and could put him in trouble with Bobby Terrell, because while those two were fighting, Terrell was able to close up about a 10th and a half. So Terrell now not too far out of the rearview mirror of Jamie Walker. And the question is, Christian Peterson, can he pull away, or his tire is gone after that battle?
It was a hard-fought battle between those two, and I'd say Bobby Terrell's a good shot at it, but right now he's got to focus one at a time, because he's got to get around Jamie Walker at the same time. And quite frankly, I think it's going to be a really tall task to get around not only the 88 but also the 23 right now. So right now it's kind of stabilized between these front 3 drivers, and there's a long distance between those guys behind him. Justin Michael and Michael Atkins Jr. are over 2 seconds behind the leader, and they are struggling to keep their trucks in check and also try and get around each other. But Christian Peterson, with the battle with Jamie Walker, Walker gave it all he had, and right now he's at least able to hold on to second. But I think that might be all she wrote for the 88. If we get a caution, that could change the way this race it goes. But even then, he's got that right side pushed in a lot. So I think the right front doesn't look as bad as the 3s, and the 3 was able to go. So might still have a little bit in that truck, but definitely the momentum mentally is also gone with that.
Yeah, meanwhile, battle side by side back further in your field while they were going at it. Matt Mara, Jesse Williams. This was the mess we saw in the middle of the pack earlier on. Well, that's all but sorted itself out and left these two all alone in their own piece of real estate. So these two are going to go at it right now side by side and continue to go side by side. Meanwhile, that's really your only side-by-side fight through the rest of your field here. Actually, no, it isn't. Greg Mall contact with Scott Formosa.
Yeah, I saw that. Greg Mall had lost it off the turn number 4 just this past lap, and he had a big hard time trying to get the truck together. And the 80 was not having it, and kept going and kept his foot in it, and they got into each other. So Formosa is going to get the position, but looks like the 87 getting big pressure by the 2, and the 2 is going to throw it in there anyways. So he's going to get the positioning under the 87. That was really close corner. He's going to door him too. So he's going to hit him also in the corner. So don't know if the 87 really appreciates that, but nonetheless, they're still going side by side. This is a great battle here as they are fighting for, it looks like, the 4th position. 2 is going to come up the track, but he's going to lose a little bit. Oh, the 87 in the wall. He's going to tag the 2.
He's going to turn the 2.
Yeah. He tags and turns him around. Caution's out.
And it looked like what could have been Justin Michael knowing it was all over. And I'm not sure if that was revenge, but either way, you could tell he was not happy at all with Michael Atkins Jr. following that race. You saw him pinch him down going into 3 and 4. And you could show those 2 make contact off of 2 as we look at the replay. And you can see the 87 kind of send it in a little bit on him and tried to hold him off on the top side. Had a little too much throttle going through the corner. Initially looked okay, but just got close. Then gets in the wall, comes off the wall and right into the 2, Austin. So got loose. And the 2 goes up, the 87 goes around, and it all happens in front of Aaron Bennett, who somehow makes it through all that.
I want an onboard of that, because I've seen Aaron Bennett make it through some really tough situations. That might be his best piece of driving, and probably the best piece of driving I've seen out of a driver on broadcast in a long time. Heads-up driving, notice there was an issue with both drivers, not just the 87, but got off the gas, let the wreck develop, and it just happened. He just happened to be kind of in the right position. Did not even make contact. At least I don't think he made contact with anybody. One thing that's dead sync, though, is that 2 other drivers do get involved. Looks like the, I don't know who the number 5 is, but absolutely ran over Greg Mall, which is really unfortunate because the 5 had nothing to do with the initial accident, and Greg Mall was slowing down for the wreck.
And sorry to cut you off, Austin, but big time, Jamie Walker stays out. Everybody else pits. Christian Peterson in, Scott Formosa in, both with 2 tires. Steve Price also with 2 tires. Chris Gibeau as well, 2 tires. Then you got Bobby Terrell and everybody else behind him on 4. So the strategy card fails for Jamie Walker. He stays out. Everybody else comes in. And Walker had one shot, Austin, to maybe try and claw this back, and that is not going to work. I do not think that was the right call for Jamie Walker.
Well, I think I'd be right. I think I'd be right. I think you'd be right if we had a few more laps than what we do. I think we're gonna have 3 laps to go. Now we'll know whether the pace car's lights go off this time. If we get it off next time by, which is probably what's gonna happen, he'll have 3 laps to fend him off. And with the vigor that I saw him race and win the last time we were here at Dover, where he raced Ashton Crowder very hard for the win, I would have a good gut feeling. Actually, we're gonna have 5 laps to go. So, it might be 4 laps to go when they go green. So that, I think 4 might be the threshold where he can't block more than that. I think that's the point where Christian would put it in his own hands to take the race. But I don't know if he's got enough, but he's got a block. I think that's the only way you can say it, Cisco. He's got a block, and he's got to do it to one of the best racers that is in league racing on LSRTV.
Yeah, this is going to be a tall order for Jamie Walker, and we've seen Jamie have success. The champion 1 year in the initial season we covered there. Finally got that one out. The initial champion of the USR BNC Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series, he got the first one, and then the second one, of course, went to Scott Simley. So Jamie Walker wants to be back in that limelight and in that championship fight. He has the perfect opportunity to do that. So the light should go out this time, but he's not going to have a chance to win this race without a fight for sure. And you are right, Austin. 4 to go. He's going to have at race speed to try and hold off Christian Peterson, Scott Formosa, Steve Price, Chris Gabot, and a whole host of others behind him.
The thing is, I don't think these guys took 4 tires. I think they only took 2.
Everybody from, I can check right now, everybody from Gabot forward on old 2 tires. Obviously, Jamie's on old tires, and then from Terrell back, it's all 4.
This might not be so bad because that exit speed really relies on those left side tires. The entrance speed really relies on those right sides. So Christian will definitely be able to dive it in way deeper, but the exit speed might be the... it's gonna be tough, I think, no matter which way you slice it for Jamie. But I think, like I said, I think he's gonna try and get everything he's got. He's probably gonna go as soon as he can, or he might try and go later. I don't know. We'll have to find out. iRacing official paint car about ready to get off and down and away. When does Jamie Walker go? It's going to be very pivotal. That this restart is absolutely perfect. He's waiting. He's not gone yet. He goes now. Green flag in the air. Christian Peterson. He had a little bit of wheel spin. He still has wheel spin. The 88 gets in front of him, and look at the number 80 of Scott Formosa. Caution on the field as there's a big junk behind them. Big junk, and that's going to end it. I think Jamie Walker played it right.
That's exactly the move he needed to play, and it's something we've seen employed in the iRacing Pro Series. It's something we've seen play in RSR. You check the field up, and you hope something happens behind you, and that's exactly what happened. It was almost Jamie Walker himself with the wheel spin, but it played out just in his favor, and you watch behind, and it was really the 5 of Chris Gabot who had the initial contact. And you can see him have trouble getting off, and he gets into the 14 and just carnage behind the 22, and the track's blocked, and there's nothing you can do. This is a self-cleaning racetrack, but not when you're going 50 miles an hour, and it's just wrecked race cars everywhere.
This is the break I think Jamie was really looking for when it came to it. I don't know if it's exactly the way he wanted to win, but this was, I think, the way he was one of the only ways he could win, because he had hit the wall on the outside lane. I know you're probably getting a couple replays of the couple more replays of the wreck, what just happened, but we'll have 2 laps to go here under caution, which I think this might be one of the first races that this ends under caution. Even I don't even think the Lucas Oil race ended under caution. I think Christian Peterson was able to win that race under green. I have to go back and look, but we've had a lot of races that have actually ended under green. So with Jamie Walker winning this race, like I said, I don't think it'll be the way he wants it to, and we'll be able to ask him later on. But definitely a hard-fought season so far, and he said he really wanted to get one so far this season. So he'll have just a lap and a half as long as he doesn't Mark Martin it, and he'll get the victory.
And for Jamie Walker, this was a case, Austin, we mentioned it at the top of the show, the new build. And one of the things that's been across all three of the top level vehicles on iRacing in the oval category has been these vehicles are a lot tougher to drive. And whether it's the Cup car, you know, drivers calling the Cup car like you have to drive it on like eggshells with the throttle. And we've seen, you know, the struggles for drivers in the Icebreaker series with the B car, you know, that car suddenly having a lot, you know, having the tires just fly off them. And the trucks, of course, they have a lot more weight behind them, but I thought wheel spin might play as a factor. And I think Jamie Walker was thinking the same thing as everybody trying to figure out where they should be. White flag in the air this time for Jamie Walker. Just has to get the truck back home and hope nothing weird happens.
He does have a few lap trucks he's following right here, one with a blonde motor. I think he's all the way at the top of the track, just so no shenanigans happens. If anyone blows it.
Banks?
I think that is going to be Dustin Hall on the number 37 up there towards the front, actually. So he's got the blonde motor. There's so many trucks in that last one, I don't think we'd be able to really count them all. I think we're going to only end up with 15 trucks in the lead lap after that. After I think we had like 23, 24 right before that accident. So I was going to say Miles was on a diet today, but he proved me wrong. He went back for dessert in this one and took the big cake. So someone else who's going to be taking the big cake home is Jamie Walker. He'll be taking the trophy, the hardware, and everything along. He does hit past the pit road, so I can almost officially say he'll be the victor here. It's been a long time coming this season as he's had to fight harder, I think, this season than he has in any other series here in the United Sim Racing BNC Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series, and he will cross the start-finish line here, pick up his first victory of the season.
And Jamie now going to go by all the remnants of the caution and the calamity. But for Jamie Walker, fantastic job, and strategy played in a way we've seen so many times here. You check up the field and you hope something happens behind you, because we're not restarting this race under 4 laps to go. That's what happened. So Bobby Terrell comes up to congratulate the 88, and Christian Peterson comes home once again, no victory. And how about Scott Formosa? Career run tonight. Absolutely fantastic job.
And I was commenting on the start because I didn't know if that caution was going to come out immediately, just because of the fact that Scott actually had a really good chance of taking Peterson's position away because of how soon that caution came out. And I think Formosa actually had a really good shot at it if it had continued to go green, but that didn't happen. And so Jamie Walker will show how it's done, how to do a burnout, as we've seen some drivers who have actually, looks like he's going to just going to do it the classy style, I think. I like that, actually. So he'll do the reverse. Dang it, I can't remember his darn name. You're going to have to help me out.
Do you want me to take over? Jamie Walker implying the Polish victory lap.
Polish lap, Vic, yeah.
Alan Kulwicki made famous, of course, after his first win. And so often in his career, Jamie Walker will go clockwise around the racetrack.
I was just looking for Kulwicki, but that does well too. So we'll go through your full field rundown here after tonight's Dover 200. Jamie Walker gets the victory. Christian Peterson comes home the bridesmaid, but still gets a very good point stay for him. And then Scott Formosa talked about him. Well, his car's going by Jamie Walker actually still, so that could have been deadly. Aaron Bennett, he'll actually get 4th after having a big issue with the 11th off in turn number 4. Then Steve Price Jr., he finishes 5th. So he has a really good day, as well as Bobby Terrell and Britt Jetty. Out of nowhere, comes from 29th, 7th biggest mover of the day. Jesse Williams finishes 8th. George Hendricks very quietly slips into the 9th position, with Justin Michael finishing 10th.
Mark McCrary going to finish 11th. 12th going to go to Michael Atkins Jr. 13th to Joshua Banks. 14th to Scott Simley. 15th to Matt Mara. 16th to Dustin Hall. 17th going to go to Steve Herring. 18th to John Jenkins. 19th position going to go to Robert Gillenwater, and Chris Cabot going to round out your top 20.
Finishing 21st is going to be Greg Mall after having a really good run today. Falls short. Tim Matthews finishes 22nd. Michael Waite finishes 23rd. 24th, Michael Priester. Shane Hawther finishes 25th. Ralph Vandervorst, 26th. Jody Green, 27th. Randy Tesser finishes 28th. 29th, Tommy Ryan. Ricky Howell Jr., 30th. And the last four drivers out there, or last two drivers, Dwayne Dunn and Dwight Beverly, and Lewis Robinette and Brian Katz. He did not actually start the race tonight, but that would compromise your 34 truck field here at Dover. We'll take a moment. We'll talk to your top three drivers after a short message here from iRacing and a couple of our fancy friends.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of LSRTV and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Live Sim Racing LLC and iRacing.com Motorsport Simulations. LSRTV would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.
Welcome back to the Dover International Speedway as we're about to talk to your top three finishers, including your race winner, Jamie Walker, who I'm in victory lane with. Jamie, you got the job done, and you kind of really had only a couple of ways to get it done. One of the ways was to fend off Christian Peterson on 2 tires for 4 laps, and the other was to have a caution, and you got one of those. Talk with us about your race and just kind of your season's been. You've had a rough season, I think. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but I think this win is kind of one of your biggest wins, actually.
It's been getting better. Yeah, I admit it started off pretty rough and not running the way I'm used to running. And week by week, I've just been stepping up my game a little bit more and more. And it's turning out pretty good so far. I like it.
Now, on that restart, were you planning on maybe trying to start that restart a little bit later in the box to try and anticipate some drivers having an issue, or were you wanting, did you feel more comfortable with the fact that you were on even tires and that your wheel spin would be pretty small?
You hit the nail right on the coffin. That's what I was hoping for, is some tire spin there, because I was on old tires compared to everybody else with their 2 tires, and I'm thinking, well, I'm going to start in third here, go late, and see if they spin their tires, and it worked out.
I actually haven't heard of someone starting in third, but for anybody out there who races at Dover, what I think anybody could say, and I'm actually guilty of myself of doing exactly what Chris did, is spinning the tires, and I think we've all been there and seen it happen in a very lengthy race if something like this had happened. But it benefits a driver like you, who is in a good position at this point in the championship. This only propels you further. This is the best you can do in the race. You can only get the highest position you can get, you the most points you can get at the end of the day. Going forward, though, of course, keeping the race in perspective, you go from Dover to Pocono. Does this give you a lot of momentum there? Was it a track that's difficult or relatively a track that you already like?
It's going to be iffy with this new build and the tire buildup that they have now. The trucks are handling completely different now. They seem to be a lot more loose in other areas, so it's going to be something to work on.
Well, Jamie, you had a masterful plan there at the end, and it worked out for you. And before we let you go, as you know, we got to give you the floor to give shout-outs and thanks to who makes it happen for you on the 88 machine.
Well, of course, I got to thank you guys up here in the booth. You guys do an awesome job. Everybody on the BNC lawn and landscaping truck and / the Mountain Dew truck, they do an awesome job this season. All my guys down there at Young Guns, they help me out throughout the season. And all my fans out there, just like to give a shout out to them.
Well, Jamie, I think you ran about 40 or so laps sled tonight, and so this one will definitely be one that you hold on to, as they're not as easy to come by as I think the league gets a little bit more competitive. But we'll see you off tonight, and we'll maybe talk to you later.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, that is your winner, Jamie Walker in the 88 machine, and we will go down the line, and we'll give it to Cisco for Christian Peterson.
Yeah, catching up with Christian Peterson, who finished in second place, and it was close, but just not enough time at the end. And Christian, obviously, that last restart, everything got chaotic, lots of wheel spin everywhere, but for you, it was close but no cigar.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, hats off to Jamie there. He definitely made a gamble, and it paid off. I mean, I thought with how much fall off there we had, how quickly, thought pitting was definitely going to be the option, but didn't play into my mind about how the banking was there and how restarts play out. So yeah, I didn't think about all the guys in the back spinning tire. And I mean, we spun tire up there in the front. I had 2 tires. I don't know what the guys behind me had. So I was spinning tire, and we hung on to it. So just wish the guys in the back could have, but he gambled and paid off. So yeah, congrats to him.
And you were battling up front all night long. Only led about 8 laps or so, but you were in the conversation. Working your way up through the field, plus 17 positions on the night. So definitely a long night for you. What was the biggest challenge out there?
I think once we got to like the top 6, when we got to the top 10, it was pretty quick to get there, and then to get to the top 5, that took a little bit longer, and then once you got to the top 5, it was really hard. They were all those guys up there were really even, like Trey, Michael, or Justin, Jamie, and the 36, I think Josh. But all those guys were really quick. Josh got caught out on speeding, and but once you got there, I don't know what the deal was, if it got like real better, like if the air helped, or I don't know if the updates get clean air or whatever. If you get out front, it's faster, but it seemed like the leader was able to check out, and then it was racing behind him. But other than that, it was really fun, and it was a lot of hard racing. I know it got real close with Justin there a few times, and I don't know, it was good, it was fun. But yeah, definitely the top 5 was definitely the hardest part when once you got there and trying to get to the lead.
Well, I'll give you the opportunity, Christian. Sponsors, shout outs. Who makes it happen for you in the 23 crew?
Just everybody at 6-man, everybody at Vincier. I had John Lede on the spotter stand, and Jeremy was telling me what to do, like pit stops, and if we were going to have a green flag pit stop, which fortunately we didn't. But they were both there helping me, and a lot of fun.
Well, that's Christian Peterson. He finished second. Now I'm going to go down pit road and catch up with the driver who finished third, and it was Scott Formosa out of nowhere. Scott, fantastic run for you, and you made it through the calamities on that final restart. Talk through it, my friend.
Well, I took on 2 tires there. I thought I'd gamble, get a little track position. It paid off. I hated to see that caution right there at the end. I thought maybe I could get underneath the 88, the 23 right there.
Well, still definitely a long day for you. You started 9th. You were kind of around the top 10 all day, and then the gamble at the last minute, but long day for you out there. A lot of going back, going forward, going all over the place. Definitely a challenging day for you in that 80 truck.
Yeah, it was. I really messed up on pit road a little bit tonight. I couldn't get in my pit box, where I was positioned on pit road. It was really hard to get in and out of the pits, and I'd go in there and I'd be too close to the wall, and it would really mess my timing up. I'd lose a lot of spots, but just kept at it. Good, decent top 3 tonight, and get me up there in points. We'll see what'll happen next week.
Well, Scott, I'll give you a moment. Sponsors, shout-outs. Who gets it done for you and the 80 team?
It'd be County Line Motors here in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. I want to thank my teammates, GRF Racing, Bob Gillenwater, Louis Robinette, Chris Bow, Jesse Williams. We all put a little bit of input and help each other out a lot. And I want to thank you guys. Thank Aaron and Steve Herring and Gillenwater, the way they add me in this league over here. They do a fantastic job, and you guys do too, man.
Well, Scott Formosa finishes 3rd. Scott, congrats, and we'll see you in 1 week's time.
All right, appreciate it, guys.
That'll do it, and I'll send it back to Austin for some final thoughts. And Austin, a climactic way to finish this, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say it's kind of a little bit of both. It's a little bit of climactic, a little bit of anticlimactic, because the last 3 or 4 laps were run under caution. But up until that point, we had, I think, one of the more racier races we've had. We had a lot of contact between drivers that didn't result in interacts. A lot of doverness happened. A lot of driver getting into the outside wall a little bit. And remember, that's without the safer barrier being there too. So just think about the safer barrier being there, and the fact you've got about another foot to I think those are about 2.5 feet wide that you wouldn't have, which is a big deal. So definitely thinking about how that would affect if they had those in the sim. But nonetheless, there's a lot of good side-by-side racing, and I'd have to say there's a lot of drivers that really benefited off that last wreck as well. Their finishes are going to look really nice, but definitely I think when you think about the grand scheme of things, there's some drivers that actually really, really hurt because of the last couple cautions, like Greg Mall, Chris Cabot, who is doing a really good job up until that point. So a track like this could make a good performance look bad on paper.
Yeah, absolutely, Austin. And getting away from Dover next week should certainly help. But now we're done for the week here on LSRTV. No more racing, and we're going to be on the road as I'll be heading back home. So getting close to those holiday breaks, but still plenty of racing action in 2017. If you want to know more about that, you can visit our website at www.livesimracing.com for information on the upcoming broadcast schedule. If you want to learn more about United Sim Racing, probably best to hit up their Facebook page right now. So do that for all the upcoming info. And once the website gets back up, we'll be sure to link that out to everybody. So that'll be the place to go for all the info on USR. Then, of course, next week we get kicked back off with RSR and all our series coming back, Austin.
Yeah, so we'll start fresh on Monday with Icebreaker, and then I do believe we have another pro week before the holiday season starts, and it'll be in full swing. We'll have our Wednesday night series back in action after a hiatus week, and we'll definitely look forward to having the Upset Racing League back. Actually, no, they're off until the season's end, so that will be a little bit different. So from all of us here tonight, and all of us from the behind-the-scenes crew at LSRTV, I'm Austin Coop. Hey, Cisco Scarmuzza. We've got Evan, DJ, Laura, and everyone else, and in our little niche of LSRTV broadcasters and affiliates. We say thank you for showing up, watching the broadcast, and we'll see you at the next track, which is Pocono.